Chapter 3354. This guy is so arrogant. Looking at Mo Qingyun's performance, Kong Xian's beautiful eyes moved slightly, and she felt a little indignant. She had seen Mo Qingyun's talent. In the same realm, no one in the entire heaven boundary could match him. But at this moment, the person who was fighting with him was not a great god. Not only was he not a great god, he was not even a heavenly god, but a divine king expert. For example, Kong Ying, Kong Shang, and Kong Xing were all peak divine king experts. As for Kong Shui, she was a quasi-divine emperor expert. On the surface, Yang Luo's cultivation was a middle-stage divine king, but his real battle strength was comparable to a peak divine king. From this, it could be seen that his cultivation on the surface was not his real cultivation. I like to see how far he can go. Although Kong Xian was indignant in her heart, she was intensely curious about Mo Qingyun's performance. Kong Xian muttered to herself. Her beautiful eyes moved slightly as she suddenly had an idea. She thought, although this guy isn't the one Ling Long is looking for, at least they have the same name. Why don't I let Ling Long come and watch the show? Thinking of this, Kong Xian took out her communication jade talisman and sent a message to Ling Long. After a while, Kong Xian showed a disappointed expression. Ling Long rejected her suggestion and did not want to come and watch the show. Knowing that Ling Long was not willing to come, Kong Xian smiled bitterly and shook her head. She said, "Forget it. It's good that Ling Long doesn't come. If she comes, it will definitely cause some commotion and attract some people who are trying to curry favor with her." After Kong Xian's words, she did not think much about it and watched alone on the high platform. After Yang Luo's battle, Kong Shui, Kong Ying, and the others went up one after another. Each of them was very strong. Looking at these people's performance, Mo Qingyun's expression did not change, and he silently noted them down. Kong Shui, Kong Ying, Kong Xing, Kong Shang, Yang Luo, these 5 people can be considered as the top battle strength of our group. After watching the first round of battle, Mo Qingyun had a clear understanding of the situation of this group's strong opponents. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was analyzing his opponent's strength, his name once again flew out. The name that flew out at the same time as his name was actually an opponent he had been paying attention to. Void Xing, his opponent, is actually Empty Xing. He's in big trouble now. When Kong Xian saw Mo Qingyun's opponent, she was excited and said, "Kong Xing isn't as strong as Kong Shui and the others, but his ranking on the Imperial Prince ranking list isn't low. His latest record is 37th. Although Mo Qingyun defeated Kong Ling, it will be quite difficult for him to fight against Kong Xing." Under Void Xian's expectant gaze, Mo Qingyun walked to the center of the stage. His gaze falling on Void Xing. Kong Xing's body was as huge as a mountain, giving off a powerful pressure. Peak Divine King Realm. Sensing Kong Xing's aura, Mo Qingyun frowned and thought. Although his aura is very strong, his battle strength is far from Yin Wujio's. With my current strength, I can fight Yin Wujiu again even without using the sealed gate. It shouldn't be difficult for me to deal with Kong Xing. After assessing Kong Xing's strength, Mo Qingyun knew how to fight him. Looking at Mo Qingyun and Kong Shui in the center of the stage, Kong Ying showed a gloating smile and said, "I didn't expect his opponent to be Kong Xing this time. It seems like his luck has come to an end." Kong Shui, Kong Shang, Yang Luo, take a guess. How many rounds do you think he can last? Hearing Kong Ying's question, Kong Shui and the others' expressions changed, and they seemed to be pondering. Yang Luo thought for a moment and answered first, "I know Kong Xing's strength. Even if he encounters an ordinary divine emperor, he can fight for dozens of rounds. He only needs 3 moves to deal with this kid. What a pity. If he's defeated by Kong Xing, I won't have a chance to attack him." Kong Shui's pretty face was cold as she said, "Although this guy is very arrogant, he still has some strength. It shouldn't be difficult for him to last 10 moves." As soon as Kong Shui finished speaking, Kong Shang shook her head and said, Kong Xing might have a 50-50 chance of winning against him. When he fought Kong Shi just now, he didn't even use half of his strength. He hit it very well. I hope Kong Xing can force him to his limit. Kong Shang's words surprised Kong, Ing, and the others. Only then did they remember this key point. That's right. When Mo Qingyun defeated Kong, Shi just now, he didn't even use the threads of law. This was an incredible detail. The key to a divine realm powerhouse's strength was the strength of the threads of law. Mo Qingyun could defeat Kong, Shi without using the threads of law. If he used the threads of law, it would be even more amazing. Even if Mo Qingyun's cultivation was low, the number of threads of law he condensed was small. But once he activated them, the increase in his battle strength would be very terrifying. When they thought of this, some dread emerged in their eyes as they looked at Mo Qingyun. My cultivation is higher than yours. I'll give you a chance to attack first. After sizing up Mo Qingyun a few times, Kong Xing made an inviting gesture. In the face of Kong Xing's politeness, Mo Qingyun didn't stand on ceremony and immediately attacked. When Mo Qingyun made his move, the aura he exuded immediately became sharp and fierce. Strands of law with sharp auras erupted from his body. Although he was very confident in his own strength, it didn't reach the point of arrogance. Kong Xing wasn't Kong Shi. If he didn't activate the threads of law, he would be at a disadvantage in a head-on confrontation. Soon, 5,000 huge threads of law condensed outside Mo Qingyun's body. Only 5,000 threads. It doesn't seem like much. People with peak Great Divine Realm cultivation generally condense around 8,000 threads, right? If this is his limit, his talent is very ordinary. Although the number of threads of law isn't many, his threads of law seem to be somewhat different from others. The spectators all around began to make comments. Compared to the eyesight of these juniors, Kong Qinglu and the others' eyesight was undoubtedly much more sinister. This kid's threads of law seem to have undergone some mutation. It's far from what ordinary people can compare to. Observing Mo Qingyun's threads of law, Kong Qinglu revealed a look of surprise and said in a deep voice, "If my feeling isn't wrong, the power of his one threads of law is comparable to 5 ordinary threads. Truly monstrous. 1 thread comparable to 5 threads?" Hearing Kong Qingliu's words, the expressions of the elders sitting beside her changed because of this. If it was really as Kong Qinglu said, Mo Qingyun was really too monstrous. If that's the case, the power of his threads of law is comparable to a mid-divine king. Kong Lanyue thought and began to analyze Mo Qingyun's strength. The threads of law are comparable to a mid-divine king. Coupled with his physical battle prowess, the outcome of his battle with Kong Xing seems to be a little hard to say. Hearing Kong Lanyue's analysis, the elders all nodded, but they also felt some anticipation. Chapter 3355. Zone 10, Competition Arena. Divine Lightning Dragon Transformation Wave. Mo Qingyun's figure flickered as he appeared in front of Void Xing and punched out. As Mo Qingyun punched out, a berserk divine power frantically gathered on his fist. Roar! A resounding dragon roar rang out. Then, a lightning dragon with a berserk aura flew out from Mo Qingyun's fist. As the lightning dragon flew out, 5,000 strands of law flew out and merged with it. As the strands of law merged, the lightning dragon's aura began to rapidly rise. Not bad. You have the strength of an imperial sun, but still not enough to defeat me. Seeing the lightning dragon rapidly approaching, Void Xing wasn't afraid at all and casually sent out a palm. Although Void Xing's palm seemed casual, it was extraordinary. The aura it erupted with was quite shocking. At the same time, a powerful fluctuation of divine power erupted from Void Xing's palm. Not only that, but as Void Xing waved his palm, 45,000 strands of law appeared. 45,000 strands of law were 5 times more than Mo Qingyun's demonic God Heaven Punishment Palm. The powerful divine power merged with the strands of law, causing the sky to change color and causing a surge of wind and lightning. Soon, the divine power and the strands of law condensed into a giant axe. Slash! Void Xing coldly snorted and chopped down. Following Void Xing's movement, the giant axe image in the air chopped down at the lightning dragon. Roar! Facing the attack of the giant axe, the lightning dragon didn't retreat in the slightest. Instead, it roared and charged forward. Soon after, everyone saw the giant axe and the lightning dragon crazily collide. Boom, boom, boom. The giant axe and the lightning dragon clashed several times in a row. Each time, the shockwaves shook the heavens and earth, creating a terrifying storm of divine power. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were shocked. They were somewhat surprised by Mo Qingyun's strength. Although Mo Qingyun had displayed great strength when he defeated Kong Shi, Voidxing's battle had been fierce. It wasn't as intense as this one, and the commotion wasn't as great. This guy is really a monster. Looking at Mo Qingyun's performance, Kong Xian's beautiful eyes trembled, and her eyes were filled with shock. While Kong Xian was surprised, she unconsciously clenched her fists and said, "Although this guy is strong, his foundation is still a little weak. I'm afraid he's no match for Kong Xing. If he can condense 10,000 strands of law, he should be able to fight Voidxing or even defeat him." If Kong Xian could see this, so could Kong Qinglu. Watching the battle between Mo Qingyun and Kong Xing, Kong Qinglu frowned and said, "Based on the current situation, if Mo Qingyun doesn't have any other trump cards, then I'm afraid his battle with Kong Xing is over." And at most 3 more attacks, Mo Qingyun's lightning dragon will be destroyed by Skywalker's giant axe. When Kong Lanyue heard this, he frowned and nodded. Although Mo Qingyun's previous performance had already exceeded her expectations, there was still a big gap between him and Kong Xing. Kong Lanyue thought for a moment and said, "With my understanding of him, since he wants to participate in the qualification battle, he must have the confidence to avoid a spot. Therefore, his true battle strength is definitely not limited to this. He must have an even stronger trump card." Kong Qinglu didn't speak, but a look of anticipation appeared in her eyes. She was actually very curious about this mysterious youth. Otherwise, she wouldn't have excluded everyone and made an exception to allow Mo Qingyun to participate. On the stage, seeing Mo Qingyun's lightning dragon about to be destroyed by his attack, Kong Xing revealed a proud expression and said, "Mo Qingyun, if you don't have any other trump cards, then don't make a final struggle. With the strength you've displayed so far, you were extremely lucky to be able to defeat Kong Xing." Hearing Kong Xing's words, Mo Qingyun faintly smiled and said, "I didn't expect you to be so anxious. That was just a warm-up. I haven't even used my strength yet. You're a bit stronger than Kong Xing. You lasted until my warm-up ended. I hope that when I use my strength, you can last a bit longer." As Mo Qingyun spoke, another 3,000 threads of law appeared in the air above him. Seeing the 3,000 threads of law appear, the surrounding people were startled. Their gazes towards Mo Qingyun greatly changed. "I didn't expect him to hide 3,000 threads of law. It seems that it will be difficult for Kong Xing to defeat him. With his peak Great Divinity Realm cultivation, condensing 8,000 threads of law can be considered his limit. It seems that under Kong Xing's strong suppression, he has been forced to use his trump card." Everyone discussed. Listening to the conversations around her, Kong Xian's beautiful eyes narrowed, and a trace of surprise appeared in her eyes. "This guy actually has a trump card. I wonder if Kong Xing has a trump card. If Kong Xing doesn't have a trump card, then with his current combat strength, he can fight Kong Xing," Kong Xian muttered to herself. She revealed an expectant expression as she watched Mo Qingyun and Kong Xing fight. He really did have a trump card. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Kong Qinglu revealed a surprised expression. She was somewhat surprised by Mo Qingyun's performance. On the other hand, Kong Lanyue was indifferent, as if he had already expected Mo Qingyun to be like this. Under everyone's shocked gazes, Mo Qingyun's hands rapidly formed a series of hand seals. Fuse. Under Mo Qingyun's control, 3,000 threads of law quickly fused into Thunder Dragon. Roar. After fusing with another 3,000 threads of law, Thunder Dragon immediately roared, and the aura it emitted skyrocketed. Then, Thunder Dragon ignored the Divine Force Axe's attack. How can this be? Seeing that the Divine Force Axe's all-out attack was unable to cause any damage to Thunder Dragon, Kong Xing panicked. If this was the case, what else could he use to fight Mo Qingyun? Taisher Dragon Sword Pegasus Method. While Kong Xing was panicking, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed. He rode the 8-winged Pegasus and attacked Kong Xing. Mo Qingyun's figure flickered, and he appeared in front of Kong Xing. It'll take too long to determine a result if we compete in combat arts and divine force. Let's fight head-on. As soon as Mo Qingyun's words fell, he punched out with a terrifying physical strength. In addition, a powerful bloodline power also erupted from Mo Qingyun's body and suppressed Kong Xing's bloodline. This guy's bloodline is actually stronger than mine. How can this be? Sensing Mo Qingyun's bloodline suppression, Kong Xing's expression shook and his eyes filled with shock. From what he knew, the bloodline grades of the sacred clans of the Diablo heavens seemed to be on the same level. But now, Mo Qingyun was activating his bloodline power. It was clearly suppressing him. One had to admit that this situation was too strange. Chapter 3356. Before Kong Xing could recover, Mo Qingyun's fist arrived in front of him. Facing Mo Qingyun's fist, Kong Xing didn't dare to be careless. He immediately raised his fist to block. Bang! The two fists collided with a loud bang, creating a shockwave of divine power. Under the impact of Anyway's force, Mo Qingyun was sent flying, but Xing's body swayed. From this exchange, it could be seen that Kong Xing had the upper hand. Mo Qingyun didn't get the upper hand. It looks like this Mo Qingyun isn't much. He's no match for Kong Xing, that's right. He took the initiative to attack, but Kong Xing easily sent him flying. It looks like he's just bluffing. He's jumping up and down like a clown. Seeing Mo Qingyun sent flying, the crowd made fun of him with disdain. Listening to the discussions of the people around, Kong Xian snorted in his heart. He looked at them with disdain and thought, a group of people without eyesight. They only see things on the surface. After ridiculing the crowd, Kong Xian's attention fell on Mo Qingyun again. Mo Qingyun's figure flickered, and he once again launched an attack at Empty Xing. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Kong Qinglu frowned. It looks like the result of this match is out. Kong Lanwen nodded. The 10th area on the stage. Arriving in front of Kong Xing again, Mo Qingyun sent out dozens of punches in a row, each one more ferocious than the last. Facing Mo Qingyun's storm-like attacks, Kong Xing managed to block them all. However, if one looked closely, they would find that he was finding it more and more strenuous. Moreover, the shape of his arm was beginning to change. The change in his arm was due to his bone fracture. When blocking Mo Qingyun's attacks, it had cracked and broken. Nice! Come again. This primitive exchange of blows caused Mo Qingyun's fighting spirit to surge. His fighting spirit soared to the extreme. Immediately after, his figure flashed as he attacked Kong Xing once more. Facing Mo Qingyun's second attack, Void Xing no longer faced him head-on and retreated with a bitter expression. He couldn't fight Mo Qingyun head-on anymore, or his arms would be crippled. Empty Xing's retreat immediately caused everyone to be shocked, because their eyes were playing tricks on them. From the start of the battle until now, he had not been at a disadvantage. But now, facing Mo Qingyun's attack, he actually chose to retreat. This was simply too bizarre. What's going on? Am I seeing things? Skybearer actually retreated? That seems to be the case. Could it be that Skywalker is afraid? You don't dare to fight with Mo Qingyun again? It's indeed a little strange. Look at Kong Xing's arms. They seem to have suffered heavy injuries. Could it be that Kong Xing was defeated in the battle just now? Everyone whispered to each other, and their faces were filled with shock. Who would have thought that with Void Xing's strength, he would still be defeated? Under everyone's shocked gazes, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed as he chased closely after Kong Xing. Seeing Mo Qingyun catch up, Kong Xing immediately retreated, unwilling to face Mo Qingyun head-on again. Following that, a bizarre scene occurred. The peak divine king realm Void Xing was actually chased by the peak divine deity Mo Qingyun on the stage until he was forced to flee in a sorry state. Looking at this scene, the surrounding people were dumbfounded. Even Kong Xin, Kong Qinglu, and the rest also shook their heads and smiled bitterly, their emotions complicated to the extreme. This kind of result was something they never thought of. Stop! Perhaps he was tired of being chased. Kong Xing did not dodge anymore and spoke up to stop Emo Qingyun's pursuit, saying, "I admit defeat." After Kong Xing's words fell, he walked out of the battle area with a look of unwillingness. He was very clear that continuing to flee was meaningless and would only make him a laughingstock. This guy finally admitted defeat. Seeing Kong Xing admit defeat, Emo Qingyun took a deep breath and thought to himself, "Otherwise, if I don't deploy the law threads anymore, wanting to defeat him will really have to expend quite a bit of mental effort." Emo Qingyun took a deep breath and walked to the side, preparing to regulate his breathing and recover. When Emo Qingyun turned around and prepared to leave, Yang Luo had a cold smile on his face and said with a light snort, "Looking at your appearance, seems to have expended a lot of mental energy in order to defeat Kong Xing. I hope that you can persevere until we meet." Hearing Yang Luo's words, Emo Qingyun's footsteps paused. Turning his head to look at him, he said, "You talk a little too much nonsense. Serves you right for not succeeding in pursuing others. Also, you haggle over every ounce over some trivial matters. This also shows that you're not broad-minded enough. If I were Miss Kong Shui, I'd only say 3 words to you, get lost." If Emo Qingyun said something else, Yang Luo might still feel better. When Emo Qingyun said this to him, he immediately exploded in anger, virtually unable to control himself. "Emo Qingyun, you're courting death." Thinking of being humiliated by Emo Qingyun in public like this, Yang Luo gnashed his teeth in anger. Seeing Yang Luo's performance, Kong Shui's expression was cold and indifferent, without the slightest emotional fluctuation. It could be seen that she did not have any feelings for Yang Luo in her heart. Rather, it was Kong Ying by the side who chuckled and said, "Emo Qingyun, you're not Miss Kong Shui. How would you know what she means? Also, you repeatedly targeted Yang Luo. Could it be that you want to borrow Yang Luo to attract Miss Kong Shui's attention? Honestly speaking, this method of yours is too despicable. It really makes people feel contempt." Hearing Kong Ying's words, Yang Luo's gaze when looking at Emo Qingyun clearly became even more hostile. "Idiot." Feeling Yang Luo's gaze, Emo Qingyun curled his lips at him and said, "Others casually instigated a few words, and you took it seriously. You really don't have any brains at all. With your intelligence, it's not that I, Emo Qingyun, am boasting, but I can deceive you and sell you 10 times over." When Emo Qingyun's words came out, Kong Xian burst out laughing and said, "This guy's mouth is really vicious." Yang Luo really found the wrong target to oppose him. Under Kong Xian's gaze, Emo Qingyun looked at Kong Ying and said, "And you? I originally thought that since you dared to stand up for Kong Bing, you should have some ability. Who knew that you were actually a coward, who only knew how to instigate others behind their backs, but did not dare to stand up yourself. For example, that time, Kong Bing brought you to my residence and made you attack me to get back the arena. But you left behind a ruthless sentence and left. Trash. And now, if there is any conflict between us, it can be resolved in the next battle. But you keep instigating others. You don't dare to fight me. So you want to use others to defeat me?" Hearing Emo Qingyun's question, Kong Ying was speechless and did not know how to refute. Seeing Kong Ying's reaction, everyone immediately looked at him with strong disdain. If what Emo Qingyun said was true, he was indeed trash. Feeling everyone's gaze, Kong Ying was furious and said, "Emo Qingyun, don't talk nonsense here. I will fight you. Don't talk big. Hold on until the end first." In response to Kong Ying's anger, Emo Qingyun did not back down and retorted. Then, Emo Qingyun turned around and walked to the side to recuperate. Chapter 33:57. Emo Qingyun's disdain made Kong Ying very unhappy. His mood was no longer as calm as before. Seeing Emo Qing closing his eyes and adjusting his breath. He suppressed the anger in his heart and thought to himself, "Humph, I'll let you be proud first. Now that you've offended so many people, you'll suffer later." Kong Ying glanced coldly at Mo Qing, then sat down cross-legged and waited for his match. Next, Kong Ying, Kong Shui, Yang Luo, and Kong Shang went up one after another to spar. The result was no exception. They all crushed their opponents in a domineering manner. Compared to Mo Qingyun's performance, the strength they displayed was truly domineering. However, although Mo Qingyun's performance was not as good as theirs, the attention he received was no less than theirs. The seeded candidates of the 10th area are Kong Ying, Kong Shui, Kong Shang, Yang Luo, and Mo Qingyun. Can Mo Qingyun be counted? Although Mo Qingyun's strength is not as good as theirs, he could defeat Kong Shing. His strength cannot be underestimated. This Mo Qingyun is very mysterious. Perhaps he has some trump cards. It's not too much to count him as a seeded candidate. Everyone whispered to each other. While everyone was whispering, Kong Xian looked at the people of the 10th area and thought, after 2 rounds of elimination, there are less than 30 people left in the 10th area. Mo Qingyun's next battle will probably not be easy. It's very likely that he will encounter Kong Shang and the others. While Kong Xian was thinking, Mo Qingyun's name flew out from the wooden sign above the 10th area. The name that flew out at the same time was one of the seeded candidates, Kong Shang. Kong Shang, ranked 19th on the princess ranking, was slightly stronger than Kong Shing. It's actually Kong Shang. Mo Qingyun's battle will probably be a little troublesome. Seeing that Mo Qingyun's opponent was Kong Shang, Kong Qingliu's beautiful eyes trembled and a trace of shock appeared in them. She did not know the situation of the people on the prince ranking. However, he had a detailed understanding of the people on the Empress female role. Kong Lanyu nodded and said, Kong Shang has always kept a low profile. Although she's currently ranked 19th, if she challenges others, her ranking may rise by a few places. It is even possible for her to reach the top 10. While Azure Sky and Green Willow were talking, Mo Qingyun and Lu Ming stood up and walked towards the center of the arena. Seeing that Kong Shang was going to fight, Kong Ying sneered proudly and said, Mo Qingyun, when you lose to my cousin Kong Shang, I won't think that you admitted defeat on purpose. However, the challenge I issued to you will not be put aside just because you lost. I will look for you again after the qualification battle ends. Hearing Kong Ying's words, Yang Luo immediately nodded. He glared at Mo Qingyun and said coldly, Me too. When the qualification battle is over, I will also challenge you. Hearing their words, Mo Qingyun sneered and glanced at them disdainfully. You two only know how to blabber. If you don't want to fight me, then shut up. No one will think you're mute if you don't speak. If you want to fight me, then don't get eliminated early. Persevere until you meet me. When Mo Qingyun said this, Kong Ying, Kong Shui, Yang Luo, and the others couldn't help but be stunned. Judging from Mo Qingyun's attitude, he seemed to have a lot of confidence in fighting Kong Shang. After a brief moment of surprise, Kong Ying and the others sneered, taking pleasure in the others' misfortune. In their opinion, Mo Qingyun's words would undoubtedly infuriate Kong Shang. Sure enough, Kong Shang's pretty face darkened when she heard Mo Qingyun's words. She shouted, Shameless boasting. I like to see what kind of qualifications you have to be so arrogant. Let's do it. Mo Qingyun didn't say much to Kong Shang and directly gestured for her to attack. In the current situation, it was meaningless to say anything more. The result would be clear once the battle started. Mo Qingyun's straightforwardness somewhat exceeded Kong Shang's expectations, so she didn't waste her breath on Mo Qingyun. Immediately after, Kong Shang's arm shook and a long whip appeared in her hand. As soon as the long whip was summoned, divine power surged and a terrifying aura erupted from it. At the same time, threads of nomological laws appeared around Kong Shang's body. 50,000. Mo Qingyun glanced at Kong Shang roughly and knew the number of threads of nomological laws. The number of threads of nomological laws condensed by Kong Shang was actually 5,000 more than Kong Shing. From this, it could be seen that Kong Shang was very strong. Thousand Moon, Falling Shadow. After summoning the long whip, Kong Shang raised her right arm and quickly brandished the long whip. The long whip danced in the air, creating afterimages as it lashed out one whip shadow after another. As the whip moved, 50,000 threads of nomological laws merged into it and increased its power. Taisher, Soaring Dragon, Pegasus Art. Facing the onslaught of whip shadows, Mo Qingyun didn't dare to be careless, and his figure flashed quickly. At this moment, Mo Qingyun was riding on the 8-winged divine power Pegasus, and his movement speed was raised to the extreme. It felt as if Mo Qingyun was in a rainforest of bullets, narrowly avoiding the whip shadows again and again. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Kong Shang chuckled, and a trace of disdain appeared in her eyes. Although your physical body is strong, it has no effect on me. Under the attack of my Mystic Moon Shadow Whip, don't even think about getting close to me. Kong Shang felt that the reason Kong Xing had been defeated just now was because Mo Qingyun had gotten close to him. Now that Mo Qingyun couldn't get close to her, she could definitely exhaust Mo Qingyun. Not necessarily. Mo Qingyun chuckled and didn't refute Kong Shang's words. Mo Qingyun responded and urged the threads of nomological laws to increase his battle strength. At the same time, Mo Qingyun's Amethyst Thunder Dragon body and Taichu Darkness Fortune bloodline were also activated. Under the suppression of his physique and bloodline power, Kong Shang's attacks were clearly weakened. What a domineering physique! What a powerful bloodline! Sensing the suppression of her physique and bloodline, Kong Shang's pretty face trembled and a trace of shock appeared in her eyes. At this moment, she finally understood what kind of pressure Kong Xing was enduring in close combat with Mo Qingyun. No matter how strong your physique is or how high the grade of your bloodline is, it's still the same if you can't get close. After calming the shock in her heart, Kong Shang's pretty face turned cold and her attacks became even fiercer. As Kong Shang's attacks intensified, Mo Qingyun's situation became even worse. At this moment, Kong Shang's whip attacks were like a protective barrier that protected her in the center. It wasn't easy for Mo Qingyun to break through the whip shadow barrier and attack Kong Shang. Not only that, but under Kong Shang's powerful attacks, the distance between Mo Qingyun and her was constantly increasing. As a result, the situation became more and more unfavorable for Mo Qingyun. Chapter 3358. Mo Qingyun had no other means, so his battle with Kong Shang was over. Watermark Advertisement Test. Watermark Advertisement Test. Even if he has a trump card, I don't think he can win. Trump cards can't be casually used. Although it's a bit of a pity, with Mo Qingyun's cultivation, it's already extremely difficult for him to achieve this. Everyone chatted, some taking pleasure in others' misfortune, some feeling pity. When Kong Xian saw Mo Qingyun being suppressed, she revealed a smug expression and smiled. Who told you to be so arrogant? Now you've suffered a loss. Serves you right. Kong Xian muttered to herself. Her expression was tense, and there was no lack of worry in her eyes. At the same time, she also felt a sense of pity. She thought to herself, although this guy is arrogant, his talent is truly monstrous. If they were at the same level, I'm afraid no one would be able to fight him. What a pity. If only he was the person Ling Long was looking for. With his talent and potential, the clan shouldn't stop him and Ling Long. Kong Xian muttered to herself. Kong Xian muttered to herself. She then revealed a regretful expression and unconsciously shook her head. In her eyes, Mo Qingyun's current performance was far too different from what Ling Long had described. It looks like he'll have to stop here. Watching Mo Qingyun and Kong Xian fight, Kong Qinglu sighed. Even if he can defeat Kong Shang, he won't have the slightest chance of winning against Kong Shui and the others. Hearing Kong Qingliu's words, Kong Lanyue's expression tensed, and he didn't say anything. Although she hoped that Mo Qingyun still had a trump card, it wasn't something that could be displayed. At this moment, under everyone's gazes, Mo Qingyun's speed suddenly increased. The divine power Pegasus that Mo Qingyun sat on suddenly had an additional pair of wings. Mo Qingyun's divine power comprehension seemed to have made a breakthrough. Immediately, Mo Qingyun faced Kong Shang's attack with much more ease. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Kong Qinglu and the others were shocked, and their eyes were filled with shock. However, before they could recover from their shock, they saw that Mo Qingyun had suddenly increased the number of threads of law by another 2,000. 10,000. The number of law threads that Mo Qingyun urged reached the level of 10,000. 10,000 nomological threads. Azure Willow's eyes were wide open. She was shocked by this scene and couldn't recover for a long time. She didn't expect that Mo Qingyun would still have a trump card at this point. Kong Lanyue's body trembled as he suddenly thought of something and exclaimed, could it be that Mo Qingyun kept dodging just now in order to borrow Kong Shang's strength to help him break through his comprehension of his divine ability? Hearing Kong Lanyue's words, Kong Qingliu's pretty face tightened. After a moment of silence, she solemnly said, that's very likely the case. I didn't think he would use Kong Shang to sharpen his blade. We really underestimated him. This guy, he was still hiding a trump card. Seeing the situation between Mo Qingyun and Kong Shang begin to tilt little by little, Kong Xian's pretty face was filled with shock. She really didn't expect that at this point, Mo Qingyun would still be able to make a comeback. In the 10th area, on the arena, with the breakthrough of the grand beginning dragon soaring horse transformation art and the addition of 2,000 law threads, Mo Qingyun's battle prowess instantly doubled. After dodging Kong Shang's attack again, Mo Qingyun faintly smiled and said, who told you that I can't defeat you if I don't fight in close combat? I'll tell you right now, even if I fight you in close combat, I can still crush you. Dark Demon Dragon Heaven Swallowing Roar. As Mo Qingyun's words fell, his hands danced, and divine power madly gathered between his palms. Soon, a huge black dragon was formed, exuding a monstrous dragon might. Roar! The dragon roared and its figure flashed, pouncing towards Kong Shang. In the face of the dragon's attack, Kong Shang snorted softly and swung the whip in her hand. Bang! Before the whip could reach the dragon, it was swatted away by the dragon's claws, and its radiance instantly dimmed a little. Seeing that her all-out attack was easily defeated by Mo Qingyun, Kong Shang's expression instantly tensed up. With Mo Qingyun's current strength, he was already a threat to her. Oomph! It won't be that easy to defeat me. Kong Shang snorted softly and raised her left hand. Another whip appeared in her hand. The two whips quickly merged into one after she took them out. At this moment, the color of the two whips changed drastically. Not only that, but the two whips in Kong Shang's hand now looked like two serpents entwined together. I'll let you see the power of the Ice-Fire Twin Serpent's whip. After merging the two whips, Kong Shang quickly brandished it and lashed it towards Mo Qingyun. Seeing Kong Shang's attack, Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn. After merging the two whips, their power has increased by at least 30%. It seems that I'll have to use some of my strength. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and activated another 2,000 threads of law. Following that, the aura emitted by Mo Qingyun immediately rose to another level. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the surrounding people were stunned. They felt that their brains weren't enough to process it. How is this possible? Seeing Mo Qingyun's threads of law, Kong Shang was the first to be stunned. For a moment, she forgot to attack. Mo Qingyun's current performance had exceeded her understanding. Looking at the 12,000 threads of law, Kong Xian was also dumbfounded. She covered her mouth with her hand and said, the number of threads of law he condensed has actually reached 12,000. This fellow is too monstrous. More importantly, his threads of law are so thick, pa. Kong Xian spat, her pretty face turning red. What was she thinking? 12,000 threads. Seeing Mo Qingyun activate the threads of law, Kong Qinglu frowned and said in alarm, Lanyue, do you know what's going on with the threads of law he condenses? I don't know. Kong Lanyue shook his head and said, when we met him before, he had just broken through to the great divinity realm. He had condensed at most several thousand threads of law. I didn't think that in a short period of time, he would reach this step. I just don't know if this is his limit. After hearing Kong Lanyue's answer, Kong Qinglu took a deep breath and said, I really didn't expect him to have so many cards hidden up his sleeve. It looks like there's no suspense in this match. Bang! Just as Kong Qinglu finished speaking, Kong Shang was sent flying by Mo Qingyun. After sending Kong Shang flying, Mo Qingyun didn't say any polite words. He simply cupped his hands and said, thank you for letting me win. Looking at Mo Qingyun in front of her, Kong Shang had a complex look in her eyes. She was stunned for a moment before responding, I have no complaints about losing to you, but once my cultivation drags down, I will challenge you again. After Kong Shang finished speaking, she didn't wait for Mo Qingyun to answer before turning and leaving. Looking at Kong Shang's back, Mo Qingyun was left speechless, his mood a little complicated. If Kong Shang's cultivation had broken through, wouldn't that mean she had reached the God Emperor realm? Mo Qingyun shook his head and discarded these distracting thoughts before returning to the side to recover. Chapter 3359. He's a troublesome opponent. Looking at Mo Qingyun, who was resting in the distance, Kong Shue's pretty face was solemn as she commented. Kong Shue's words fell into Kong Ying and Yang Luo's ears, causing their faces to instantly turn ugly. They originally thought that Mo Qingyun would definitely lose against Kong Shang. They didn't expect him to have hidden a trump card and actually counterattacked. This was too much of a slap in the face for the two of them. Before Yang Luo could vent his displeasure, his name flew out from the wooden token. It was his turn to fight. Seeing that it was his turn, Yang Luo's figure flashed and arrived at the center of the arena. At this moment, he was like a ferocious tiger, glaring fiercely at his opponent. Looking at his posture, it seemed like he wanted to vent his anger on his next opponent. Facing the aggressive Yang Luo, his opponent's expression was tense and his face was filled with panic. Yang Luo's aura was too terrifying. I admit defeat. After taking a few glances at Yang Luo's opponent directly admitted defeat. If it had been before, Yang Luo would have been in a good mood when his opponent admitted defeat. But now, his heart was filled with intense anger, and he needed to find someone to vent on. In the end, his opponent directly admitted defeat. How could he endure this? You're not allowed to admit defeat. Yang Luo shouted angrily when he heard his opponent's words. He wanted to continue. Seeing Yang Luo's actions, the elder in charge of the competition shouted, Yang Luo, don't be rude. Yang Luo calmed down a lot after being reprimanded by the elder. He unwillingly retreated to the side. After Yang Luo retreated to the side, he glared coldly at Mo Qingyun. Kong Ying sneered when he saw Yang Luo's actions. Yang Luo, don't be anxious. With the strength he just displayed, we will encounter him sooner or later. There will be plenty of opportunities to teach him a lesson. Yang Luo nodded when he heard Kong Ying's words. What Kong Ying said was right. Apart from him, Kong Shui, and Kong Ying, no one else could fight against Mo Qingyun. As Kong Ying and Kong Shui spoke, the competition continued and a few more people were eliminated. Shortly after, Kong Ying and Kong Shui went up one after another and ended their battles within 10 moves. After a short while, there were only 8 people left in the 10th area. These 8 people were Mo Qingyun, Yang Luo, Kong Shui, Kong Xing, Zhang Yu, Chen Shi, Kong Ji, and Fan Rou. Among them, Zhang Yu, Chen Shi, Kong Ji, and Fan Rou were all late Divine King Realm experts. The reason why the 4 of them were able to advance all the way was mainly due to their good luck. At this moment, 2 more names flew out from the wooden plaque. They were Mo Qingyun and Kong Ying. Seeing Mo Qingyun and Kong Ying's names appear, Zhang Yu, Chen Shi, Kong Ji, and Fan Rou's expressions visibly relaxed. From their point of view, if Mo Qingyun and Kong Ying were to meet, one of them would be able to make it to the next round. If Mo Qingyun and the others fought until both sides were injured, they might be able to take advantage of the situation. We've finally met. Kong Ying smiled faintly when he saw Mo Qingyun. He said, I originally thought that I wouldn't have a chance to fight you. I didn't expect you to be able to make it. That's good too. Let me teach you a lesson personally. Only then can I vent my anger. Mo Qingyun didn't take Kong Ying's words seriously. He said, I've seen people who ask for a beating, but I've never seen someone like you. Since you've persisted until now and insisted that I beat you up, I'll kindly fulfill your wish. Kong Ying's face immediately turned ashen when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He was even angrier inside. Mo Qingyun was too arrogant. You're pretty good with your mouth, but unfortunately, you're not strong enough. Kong Ying snorted coldly. He put on an arrogant expression and said, You probably don't know that the higher one's rank is, the greater the difference in strength. I'm different from Kong Xing and the others. Mo Qingyun sneered when he heard Kong Ying's words. He asked, Excuse me, what's your rank on the Emperor's ranking? 17. Kong Ying replied arrogantly. Ha! As soon as Kong Ying finished speaking, Mo Qingyun laughed out loud. His laughter was full of mockery. He said, So you're only 17. You're bragging so much that I thought you were first. However, you made it sound like you're 7th. That's very impressive. If this is a bragging contest, I'm really no match for you. Mo Qingyun's mockery made Kong Ying's face turn ashen. His veins were bulging. Mo Qingyun was too shameless. Could he beat Mo Qingyun in bragging? Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the onlookers suddenly became excited. This guy is really thick-skinned. When it comes to bragging, Kong Ying is no match for him. I remember that when he went on the stage, he said that he would be first. He's indeed bragging more than Kong Ying. I didn't expect him to be so humble. He actually gave Kong Ying the #1 bragging title. Soon, we'll know who's bragging. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, everyone teased. Listening to the words of the people around, Kong Zi glared at them and said, Really shameless. You obviously like to brag, but you turn around and talk about others. Looking at Mo Qingyun in the middle of the competition venue, Kong Qinglu and the others also shook their heads and smiled bitterly. They felt very shameless in their hearts. After ridiculing Kong Ying a few words, Mo Qingyun no longer talked nonsense and immediately urged the law threads. Since you have some ability, I'll use 10% of my strength to deal with you. Soon, 15,000 law threads condensed around Mo Qingyun. Originally, when they heard Mo Qingyun's words, everyone sighed and was about to tease him. But when everyone saw the law threads, they were all stunned and no longer had the mood to make fun of Mo Qingyun. 15,000 strands of the laws? Is this guy really a great deity? Even an ordinary early heavenly deity powerhouse wouldn't have as many law threads as him, right? This guy is too monstrous. He's simply breaking the balance of cultivation. That's not the key. The key is that he only used 10% of his strength. If he used his full strength, how strong would he be? Do you really believe his words? When this guy brags, he probably can't even control himself. Looking at Mo Qingyun's performance, everyone bitterly smiled. Although Mo Qingyun was very pretentious, they couldn't help but admit that Mo Qingyun's talent was terrifying. Monster! Kong Xian snorted, her tone not calm at all. In a short period of time, Mo Qingyun had shocked her again and again until she found it hard to calm down. It wasn't just Kong Xian who was like this. Kong Qinglu also revealed a look of shock, her eyes wide open. Mo Qingyun still had strength left over. Immediately, Kong Qinglu looked at Kong Lanyue, wanting him to give her an explanation. Under Kong Qingliu's gaze, Kong Lanyue bitterly smiled and shook his head. She also didn't know. Chapter 3360. In the 10th zone, 15,000 threads. Kong Ying's pupils shrank as he looked at Mo Qingyun's nomological threads. His eyes were filled with shock. He would never have thought that Mo Qingyun still had some tricks up his sleeves. While Kong Ying was shocked, he also started calculating in his mind. One of his nomological threads is equivalent to 5 of mine. If he has 15,000 nomological threads, it's equivalent to 75,000 of mine. The number of law threads I have condensed is only 80,000. It will be very difficult to defeat him. Kong Ying's expression turned solemn as he calculated in his heart. He originally thought that with the number of nomological threads he had, he would be able to gain a great advantage. But the result? In terms of a number of nomological threads he had condensed, his advantage was negligible. He had almost been overtaken by Mo Qingyun. This result was very different from what he had imagined. Divine Thunder Dragon Wave. While Kong Ying was still in shock, Mo Qingyun took the lead and blasted a palm at him. Surging divine power gathered madly and turned into a huge lightning dragon that exuded a monstrous dragon's might. After the lightning dragon was condensed, 15,000 nomological threads rapidly merged into it, increasing its power and combat strength. Roar! The lightning dragon roared and swung its tail, pouncing towards Kong Ying. As the lightning dragon surged, the sky suddenly changed color as if it was about to collapse. The rolling thunderclouds pressed down together with a lightning dragon, turning the battle stage into a lightning purgatory. Chi. Kong Ying did not dare to be careless in the face of the lightning dragon's attack. He immediately attacked with all his might. The divine power of a peak divine king immediately erupted from Kong Ying's body, wreaking havoc in all directions. Under the impact of this divine power, a storm instantly formed in the surroundings, attacking the thunderclouds that enveloped him. Great chaotic god fiend claw. Kong Ying activated the divine power in his body, bent his body slightly, and raised his hand to grab at the void. As Kong Ying waved his arm, a huge divine power eagle shadow rapidly formed outside his body. The giant eagle shadow formed, and close to 80,000 law threads merged into it. Immediately, the giant eagle shadow flapped its wings, as if it was about to soar into the sky. As the giant eagle spread its wings, its claws moved quickly, creating a series of sharp claw shadows. Bang, bang, bang. The claw shadow struck the lightning dragon, causing a series of loud bangs and creating a storm of divine power. Soon after, the giant eagle shadow and the dragon shadow were locked in a stalemate, crazily killing each other in the air. You just SOSO. Mo Qingyun chuckled when he saw Kong Ying's battle prowess and moved. Immediately after, Mo Qingyun stepped on the 10-winged Pegasus and charged towards Kong Ying. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Kong Ying's expression trembled, and a trace of panic appeared in his eyes. Although he had not experienced how strong Mo Qingyun's physique was, he had seen it clearly just now. In terms of physical strength alone, ordinary divine weapons would not be able to hurt him. Even if an ordinary divine king weapon could hurt Mo Qingyun, the damage would be limited. In this way, he would definitely be at a disadvantage if he confronted Mo Qingyun head-on. Thinking of this, Kong Ying did not dare to hesitate and immediately dodged, pulling away from Mo Qingyun. Seeing Kong Ying's action, the surrounding onlookers were shocked. Did I see it wrong? Kong Ying chose to retreat? What else can he do but retreat? Although Kong Ying is very strong, his physique is far inferior to Mo Qingyun's. He will be at a disadvantage if he confronts him head-on, but Kong Ying's momentum will be weakened if he retreats. It will be difficult for him to defeat Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun is really monstrous. I really can't believe that he is a late great god. Everyone exclaimed. While everyone was exclaiming, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed a few times and caught up with Kong Ying. He said, "Didn't want to stand up for Kong Bing and teach me a lesson? Why are you avoiding me now? Could it be that I was right? You only know how to instigate others to attack, but you are actually a coward? You don't even dare to fight me. You didn't buy your 17th place on the prince list with money, did you? How much did you bribe others to buy it?" As the saying went, don't hit people in the face. Mo Qingyun's series of questions could be said to be extremely harsh. If he did not fight Mo Qingyun head-on, others might really think that he bought his 17th place on the prince list. Although this possibility was very small, gossip was a fearful thing. Although everyone knew that some things were fake, they would still add oil and vinegar to the fire to promote it. Over time, the fake would become the real thing. Mo Qingyun, don't be so arrogant. Do you really think I am afraid of you? Kong Ying roared angrily. His face was as black as ink, but he did not attack impulsively. Hearing Kong Ying's words and seeing his actions, Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain and said, "If you are not afraid of me, come and fight me." As Mo Qingyun spoke, his attacks did not decrease, and he continued to chase after Kong Ying. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and finally caught up with Kong Ying. He threw a punch at him. Facing Mo Qingyun's punch, Kong Ying's expression trembled and a trace of panic flashed in his eyes. He could not escape. Although he had spoken ruthlessly just now, he was still unwilling to fight Mo Qingyun head-on in his heart. But looking at the current situation, even if he wanted to dodge, he had no other way. Helpless, Kong Ying could only give up on escaping and choose to fight Mo Qingyun head-on. Huh! Kong Ying roared angrily and swung his fist to block Mo Qingyun's punch. Soon, the two fists collided and formed a short stalemate. Bang! A loud sound was heard. After a short stalemate between the two fists, everyone saw Kong Ying's body fly backward at an extremely fast speed. Crack, crack, crack. As Kong Ying was sent flying, the crisp sound of bones cracking could be heard from his fist. If nothing unexpected happened, his fingers had been shattered in a head-on confrontation with Mo Qingyun. As Kong Ying flew backward, Mo Qingyun also took a few steps back. However, Mo Qingyun steadied himself. His figure flashed as he continued to chase after the Sky Eagle. Again, Kong Ying's face was ashen as he watched Mo Qingyun chase after him. He was so angry that he gritted his teeth and felt extremely sullen in his heart. Originally, he thought that if he made a move to deal with Mo Qingyun, it would be an easy matter. Who would have thought that when he really fought with Mo Qingyun, he would realize how monstrous Mo Qingyun was. At the same time, he also felt some regret in his heart at this moment. If he had gone to find Mo Qingyun for the first time, he would have attacked Mo Qingyun. According to Kong Shi's report, Mo Qingyun was not so strong when he was in the Kongxiang dynasty. After learning about Mo Qingyun's powerful physique, Kong Ying immediately decided that he must not fight him head-on. Chapter 3361. Although Kong Ying tried his best to escape, his speed was not as fast as Mo Qingyun's. Under Mo Qingyun's crazy pursuit, his injuries became more and more serious, and his resistance became more and more powerless. Get out! Seeing that it was about time, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately increased the intensity of his attacks. Mo Qingyun stepped on the 10-winged divine power Pegasus and arrived in front of Kong Ying in a flash. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's attacks were so ruthless that he even gave up on defense. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Kong Ying's face turned ashen and his face trembled. He knew very well that he had no way out in the current situation. Either he fought Mo Qingyun head-on and see if he could make Mo Qingyun pay the price. The other option was to temporarily avoid the brunt of the attack and use all his strength to resist Mo Qingyun's attacks. In this way, his injuries would worsen and he would lose the strength to fight again. Kong Ying's mind spun quickly and soon made a decision. Mo Qingyun, if you want to defeat me, you have to pay the price. Great desolate lone eagle claw. Kong Ying roared angrily, and the aura he emitted instantly became colder. It felt like a hungry eagle in an endless desert, ready to tear its prey to shreds at any time. Violent divine power surged wildly and erupted from Kong Ying's body like a flood. This burst of divine power fused with the nearly 80,000 nomological threads and transformed into a gigantic golden eagle. Under the aura of the giant golden eagle, the entire arena was like an endless desert. It made people lose their fighting spirit and feel despair. Whoosh! With a low cry, the giant golden eagle spread its wings and swooped towards Mo Qingyun. In the face of the giant golden eagle's attack, Mo Qingyun was not afraid at all and took the initiative to meet it. As it approached Mo Qingyun, the golden eagle waved its claws wildly and attacked Mo Qingyun violently. Break! Facing the golden eagle's claws, Mo Qingyun did not retreat at all. Instead, he swung his fist to meet the attack. Every time Mo Qingyun swung his fist, it would land on the eagle claw, causing it to be in a stalemate. Not only that, but under Mo Qingyun's repeated punches, cracks began to appear on the eagle's claws. In this situation, it was clear that Mo Qingyun's attack had exceeded what the golden eagle could withstand. Bang! Not long after, Mo Qingyun's punch caused the giant golden eagle to collapse. After killing the golden eagle, Mo Qingyun's offensive did not slow down. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of the sky eagle. This time, Mo Qingyun didn't give Kong Ying another chance. He punched him crazily. Left with no choice, Kong Ying was forced to meet the attack head-on, choosing to confront Mo Qingyun head-on. Crack, crack, crack. After a few exchanges, the crisp sound of bones cracking could be heard from Kong Ying's arm. At the same time, Kong Ying was also sent flying, his face as pale as paper. However, the way he looked at Mo Qingyun was getting colder and colder. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Kong Ying's angry gaze at all. He said coldly, "Besides playing tricks behind your back, do you only know how to glare at people? If that's all you've got, then you're really too useless. You probably bought your 17th place on the Emperor rankings." Mo Qingyun's ridicule immediately caused Kong Ying's face to turn red, and his aura became unstable. Kong Ying was so angry that he couldn't suppress the surging blood in his body. He couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Mo Qingyun's words were seriously too heartrending. From today onwards, the battle prowess he possessed would definitely be questioned by others. Just wait and see. Kong Ying snorted coldly. He walked out of the arena unwillingly. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Kong Ying's harsh words at all. He smiled and said, "What else can you do other than wait and see? You want to continue fighting me? Do you have the ability to do so?" Mo Qingyun's ridicule made Kong Ying's expression turn even uglier. Perhaps because he realized that his mouth wasn't as good as Mo Qingyun's, Kong Ying chose to shut his mouth this time. He probably also knew that he would be the one at a disadvantage if he continued to argue with Mo Qingyun. When he saw that Kong Ying wasn't speaking, Mo Qingyun turned to look at Yang Luo and said with a smile, "He's done for. It'll be your turn soon. I hope you have some ability." As soon as Mo Qingyun said this, Kong Ying's feet staggered. Kong Ying's heart was filled with anger and grievance. He couldn't wait to drag Mo Qingyun away and ask him a question. What did he mean by he was done for? Was he seriously injured? Or what? Humph. When he heard Mo Qingyun's words and saw Kong Ying's expression, Yang Luo snorted coldly and didn't retort. He knew that Mo Qingyun had a sharp tongue, so he couldn't out-talk Mo Qingyun. He knew that he couldn't out-talk Mo Qingyun. When he saw that Yang Luo had tactfully kept quiet, Mo Qingyun's interest was greatly reduced. He shook his head and walked to the side. After a while, when Mo Qingyun sat down and began to recover, the crowd burst into an uproar. Damn, Mo Qingyun actually won, and he defeated Kong Ying in a dominant manner. Is this kid really that strong? Or did Kong Ying really buy his 17th place on the Prince ranking? Although the possibility of that is very small, his 17th place on the Prince ranking is probably a big exaggeration. Some people looked at Kong Ying with doubtful gazes as they discussed the matter. Sensing the change in everyone's gaze, Kong Ying gnashed his teeth in anger. He couldn't wait to tear Mo Qingyun into pieces. This guy's strength is probably comparable to the top 10 on the Prince ranking and Princess ranking. Watching the battle between Mo Qingyun and Kong Ying, Kong Xian's pretty face was slightly shocked. She estimated Mo Qingyun's strength and thought, he's only at the peak of the great god realm and has such battle strength. If his cultivation goes further, he might be able to reach the top 3 on the Prince ranking and Princess ranking. It's just that time is tight, and there's no chance for him to go further. It's extremely difficult for him to qualify for the Sacred War. As soon as Kong Xian finished speaking, she rested her chin on her hand and looked at Mo Qingyun worriedly. In her opinion, even though Mo Qingyun had defeated Kong Ying, the following opponents would be stronger. This was especially true for Kong Shui. She was ranked 11th on the Empress ranking many years ago. Her true battle strength was probably not what it had shown. While Mo Qingyun was recovering, the other battles ended quickly. There was basically no suspense. Not long after, only Mo Qingyun, Kong Shui, Yang Luo, and Fan Rou were left in the 10th area. At this time, 2 more names flew out from the wooden board in the 10th area. They were Mo Qingyun and Fan Rou. Seeing this result, Fan Rou smiled bitterly. In the previous round, Kong Shui didn't encounter Yang Luo, so she didn't have a chance. But when faced with this result, she couldn't help but feel disappointed. She was going to be eliminated. Huff! Fan Rou took a deep breath and looked at Mo Qingyun, who had stood up and said, "I admit defeat." She knew very well that she had no chance of winning against Mo Qingyun. In this case, she might as well painfully admit defeat and give herself a way out. As Fan Rou admitted defeat, it indicated that Mo Qingyun had entered the final battle. Chapter 33:62. Seeing that Fan Rou had admitted defeat, Mo Qingyun sat down again, waiting for Yang Luo and Kong Shui's battle. When Mo Qingyun sat down, his name merged with Fan Rou's name, and the light became stronger. The next opponents, whether it's Yang Luo or Kong Shui, I'm afraid they won't be easy to deal with. Looking at Yang Luo and Kong Shui who had stood up, Mo Qingyun frowned slightly. He regarded the 2 of them with more importance. He felt some danger from Yang Luo and Kong Shui, which was different from when he faced Kong Ying. Clearly, their true strength wasn't as simple as it appeared on the surface. Yang Luo walked to the center of the arena and revealed an excited expression. He looked at Kong Shui and said, "Sister Kong Shui, I didn't expect that we would really meet. I will defeat you with all my strength later." Hearing Yang Luo's words, Mo Qingyun's lips curled up slightly. He said with a smile, "If you defeat Kong Shui, she will lose the qualifications to participate in the Holy War. This way, it will be even more difficult for her to accept you. Facing such a situation, you actually feel excited. Serves you right for being alone until now." Mo Qingyun's words caused Kong Shui's expression to change, but she didn't refute. Mo Qingyun was right. If Yang Luo defeated her, she would only hate Yang Luo. At this moment, after Mo Qingyun's reminder, Yang Luo finally realized this problem. His agreement with Kong Shui couldn't be fulfilled here. However, he had already said those words from the beginning. It was too late to regret it now. Yang Luo thought for a moment and said, "Sister Kong Shui, don't worry. Even if I defeat you and obtain the qualifications to participate in the Holy War, I will fight for the opportunity in my body." Hearing Yang Luo's words, Mo Qingyun shook his head and said, "If you really want Kong Shui's good, then take the initiative to admit defeat and give the qualifications to her. Besides, even if you defeat Kong Shui, you might not be able to stand out in the 10th area." Mo Qingyun's teasing made Yang Luo's expression change. For a moment, he was at a loss. He was very unwilling to give up the competition and admit defeat to allow Kong Shui to advance. However, if he defeated Kong Shui would definitely hate him. This was something he did not want. Seeing Yang Luo remain silent, Mo Qingyun chuckled and said, "You want to obtain benefits and win Kong Shui's heart. You are really greedy." From this, it can be seen that you do not care too much about Kong Shui. The words you said earlier were most likely words of hypocrisy. When Mo Qingyun's words left his mouth, Kong Shui's gaze towards Yang Luo clearly became colder. Although she knew very well that Mo Qingyun wasn't saying this for her sake, she had to admit that it made sense. "No, it's not like that." Seeing the intense anger in Kong Shui's eyes as she looked at him, Yang Luo hurriedly explained. Unfortunately, Kong Shui was not the slightest bit interested in his explanation. She coldly said, "No need to speak any more nonsense. Go all out and fight me." Seeing Kong Shui's action, Yang Luo revealed a difficult expression, not knowing what to do. Void Shadow Blizzard. Kong Shui paid no attention to Yang Luo's performance and took the initiative to attack. Kong Shui's figure moved, and she turned into an afterimage, approaching Yang Luo. As Kong Shui moved, an ice-cold divine power burst out from her body. Under the cover of this divine power, the battle arena quickly turned into a world of ice and snow, emitting a shocking chill. Snowflakes also started to fall from the sky above the battle arena, turning it into a world of snow. After the world of snow finished evolving, Kong Shui's figure disappeared. Seeing such a scene, Yang Luo's expression tensed up and fear appeared in his eyes. He said, "Sister Kong Shui, I am sorry. I cannot lose. I must participate in the holy war." Yang Luo's gaze became firm as his words fell. He did not let down the panic and helplessness from before. At the same time, the aura that Yang Luo emitted also rose rapidly. Mid-Divine King Realm, Late Divine King Realm, Peak Divine King Realm, Quasi-Emperor Realm. In the blink of an eye, the aura that Yang Luo emitted had reached the level of a half-step Divine Emperor. Half-step Divine Emperor. Sensing Yang Luo's aura, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He was somewhat surprised by Yang Luo's cultivation. He did not expect Yang Luo to have hidden so much of his cultivation. This fellow was also good at hiding. When Mo Qingyun noticed this, he looked at Yang Luo with an even graver gaze. No wonder he felt an intense threat from Yang Luo. It turned out that this was the case. Half-step Divine Emperor. This Yang Luo is really low-key. With his cultivation, he probably has a chance of competing with the top 10 of the Emperor ranking. It looks like he wants to shock everyone in this holy war qualification battle. Faced with such an opportunity, he indeed cannot give it up. It is normal for him not to admit defeat to Kong Shui. Normal my ass. He is clearly not sincere to Kong Shui. If he was, why would he be reluctant to give up the qualification for the holy war? That's right. What a hypocrite. He actually attacked Kong Shui. How can Kong Shui accept him? Dream on. Seeing Yang Luo's performance, the spectators were divided into two factions. One side understood, and the other despised. After discovering Yang Luo's true cultivation, Kong Xian's pretty face was slightly shocked. She thought to herself, this time, that fellow called Mo Qingyun is in trouble. No matter how monstrous his talent is, he has no chance of winning against Yang Luo, who is a half-step Divine Emperor. Kong Xian was not the only one who thought so. Kong Qinglu also shook her head when she saw Yang Luo's cultivation. She said, "It looks like Mo Qingyun's luck is very bad." Originally, I thought that the 10th zone was the weakest. I did not expect there to be a half-step Divine Emperor Yang Luo. Putting aside Yang Luo's talent and trump cards, with his half-step Divine Emperor cultivation, he should be ranked in the top 10 of the Emperor ranking. It looks like Mo Qingyun's qualification battle will end here. What a pity. Kong Lanyuan nodded and could not help but sigh. He also felt sorry for Mo Qingyun. He said, encountering such a situation, even if Mo Qingyun is eliminated, there is nothing much to say. At this moment, while everyone was shocked by Yang Luo's cultivation, Kong Shui's aura suddenly changed. After a while, Kong Shui's aura became the same as Yang Luo's. She had also concealed her cultivation. Her cultivation had also broken through to the half-step Divine Emperor realm. Seeing such a situation, everyone was shocked. They could not recover for a long time. No one would have thought that the 10th zone, which was the weakest zone, would have two half-step Divine Emperors. In this way, this competition became more and more interesting. Of course, while everyone was looking forward to it, they also looked at Mo Qingyun with strong sympathy. Mo Qingyun was really unlucky to encounter such a situation and encounter such two opponents. From the looks of it, his trip to qualify for the Holy War was about to come to an end. Chapter 3363. Kong Shui and Yang Luo revealed their true cultivation. The battle between the two of them instantly became much more intense. Violent, divine power burst out from their bodies like a monstrous wave, turning into a series of superpowers. The number of law threads that the two of them condensed neared 100,000. They crazily fused into their supernatural powers to increase their might. Boom, boom, boom. As Mo Qingyun fought fiercely, a series of deafening explosions took place in the 10th zone. At this moment, the 10th zone, which had caused the least commotion, suddenly became the zone with the most commotion. Seeing such a situation, it quickly attracted the attention of people from other areas, and they all looked over. When they saw Yang Luo and Kong Shui's strength, their expressions became tense. These two people's strength was terrifying. No matter who advanced to the next round, they would be a formidable opponent in the last round of eliminations. At this time, Kong Xianin and Kong Xianyue discovered Mo Qingyun in the 10th area. When the two women saw Mo Qingyun, they were surprised at first, but then they smiled at Mo Qingyun. In response to his children's greetings, Mo Qingyun smiled and nodded politely in response. Does he know Xianin and Xianyue? Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Kong Xian's beautiful eyes trembled slightly, and a hint of shock emerged in her eyes. She was interested in Mo Qingyun because of his name. As she learned more about Mo Qingyun, she discovered how mysterious Mo Qingyun was, and her interest in him grew. Who the hell is this guy? Kong Xian's beautiful eyes frowned. Her heart was filled with curiosity. She could not help but have a bold idea. She thought to herself, could he be the person Ling Long is looking for? If it's really him, then this is impossible. Kong Xian shook his head, trying to get rid of the distracting thoughts in his mind. However, once this thought appeared, it quickly took root in her heart, and she could no longer erase it. Under everyone's attention, the battle between Yang Luo and Kong Shui continued, and the battle became more and more intense. I didn't expect Yang Luo's strength to be so powerful, to actually be evenly matched with Kong Shui. If Yang Luo was in any other area, he would have a 90% chance of advancing. Not necessarily. The strength he has displayed now is only comparable to the top 5 on the Prince ranking. It will be very difficult for him to advance. He and Kong Shui can be considered to be evenly matched, and the chances of victory and defeat are 50-50. No, if you observe carefully, you will discover that Yang Luo has a higher chance of winning. Everyone discussed and analyzed the battle between the two. Under everyone's watchful eyes, the battle between Yang Luo and Li Yundong slowly started to escalate. At this time, Yang Luo's advantage was becoming more and more obvious. Big sister Kong Shui, you can't win against me. It's better if you admit defeat earlier. Seeing that his advantage was becoming more and more obvious, Yang Luo revealed a pleading expression, begging Kong Shui to stop the battle and admit defeat. To him, Kong Shui taking the initiative to admit defeat was the best outcome. Don't even think about it. Hearing Yang Luo's request, Kong Shui snorted lightly, and her attacks became even fiercer. However, even though Kong Shui increased the number of attacks on her hands, she was still unable to turn the situation around. Looking at this scene, Mo Qingyun sighed and said, from the current situation, Kong Shui doesn't have any other trump cards. The result of their battle is out. Bang! A muffled sound transmitted out. Following that, everyone saw a beautiful figure fall out of the battle area. It was precisely Kong Shui. Yang Luo and Kong Shui's battle. Yang Luo won in the end. Humph! Kong Shui stabilized her body, her gaze giving Yang Luo an icy glance. Then she directly turned around and left. It looked like she hated Yang Luo. Seeing Kong Shui's performance, Yang Luo's expression became flustered, wanting to open his mouth to explain. It was just that without waiting for him to speak, Mo Qingyun revealed a faint smile and said, since you defeated her ruthlessly, don't be hypocritical anymore. Are you trying to say that you were also forced to do so? That you can't lose this battle, and you must advance to obtain the qualifications for the Holy War? Mo Qingyun's rebuke made Yang Luo tongue-tied, and he actually did not know how to refute. He indeed thought so. Mo Qingyun's words made Kong Shui stop in her tracks slightly, turning her head to look at Yang Luo. Seeing Yang Luo's performance, Kong Shui immediately understood that Mo Qingyun's words were right. Immediately, Kong Shui gave a cold snort, turned around, and left again. This time, she left even more resolutely and decisively, obviously not giving Yang Luo another chance. Sister Kong Shui. Without waiting for Yang Luo to finish speaking, Kong Shui's figure disappeared. Seeing such a scene, Yang Luo was immediately furious, looking coldly at Mo Qingyun, saying, Mo Qingyun, regarding Yang Luo's anger, Mo Qingyun did not care at all. Fortunately, he closed his eyes and adjusted his breathing to recover. Seeing Mo Qingyun ignore him, Yang Luo was so angry that he gnashed his teeth, forcibly suppressing the anger in his heart. He did not need to be anxious. Soon, he would be able to fight Mo Qingyun and settle the score with him. Refine. Yang Luo sat down cross-legged, raised his hand, and grabbed, blasting out a burst of divine power, turning into a huge claw shadow. The claw shadow flew out, grabbed the name in midair, and dragged it to his side. Boom, boom, boom. As Yang Luo's name was caught by the divine power claw, the sky above the 10th area shook. Sensing such a situation, Mo Qingyun slowly opened his eyes and looked at Yang Luo. He saw Yang Luo raise his right hand, reaching towards his name and extracting a mysterious power from it. When this power was extracted, the light on Yang Luo's name immediately became much dimmer. At the same time, the power extracted from the name was absorbed into Yang Luo's body. Then, Yang Luo began to refine this power, increasing his strength. Hey, this power could be used like this. Seeing Yang Luo's action, Mo Qingyun revealed a look of surprise, and an idea came to his mind, saying, if I refine this power, can my cultivation improve further and break through to the heavenly God realm? Thinking so, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated, copying Yang Luo and grabbing at the name. Immediately, Mo Qingyun's name in midair was captured in front of Mo Qingyun. Grabbing the name in front of him, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate at all, immediately extracting the power from it. After the power was extracted, Mo Qingyun absorbed it into his body, refining and absorbing it. This power was very mysterious. As soon as it entered Mo Qingyun's body, it was quickly assimilated by him, increasing his cultivation. Then, the aura that Mo Qingyun exuded began to rise rapidly. In a short while, the aura that Mo Qingyun exuded entered the quasi-heavenly God realm. He's preparing to break through to the heavenly God realm. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Kong Xian's beautiful eyes moved slightly, revealing a look of surprise. Soon, she understood and nodded, saying, with his current cultivation, it's still a little difficult to fight Yang Luo, but there's some hope if he breaks through to the heavenly God realm. Kong Xian muttered to herself, revealing an expectant and nervous gaze, fully focused on Mo Qingyun's situation. Chapter 33-64. As Mo Qingyun's aura rose, one line after another began to condense above his head. To be more precise, these were not thin lines, but pillars of light. As these pillars of light condensed, an ancient and mysterious aura emanated from them. This aura is Genesis Supreme's great Tao origin. Sensing the aura of the law threads, Kong Qingliu's beautiful eyes trembled, and her face was filled with shock. However, before she could calm her shock, the shock on her face became even stronger. She said, "No, this isn't Genesis Supreme's great Tao origin. It seems to be on a higher level than Genesis Supreme's great Tao origin." This discovery truly frightened Kong Qingliu. She found it difficult to comprehend for a long time. What was Genesis Supreme's great Tao origin? This was something that only God Emperor powerhouses could comprehend. Mo Qingyun's mirror quasi-celestial god cultivation had actually succeeded in comprehending it. How could this not be shocking? How could it not be terrifying? No wonder his law threads are so powerful. So this is the reason. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Kong Langyue revealed a look of understanding, the doubts in his heart resolved. Immediately, she and Kong Qinglu looked nervously at Mo Qingyun. Seeing Mo Qingyun cultivating and attempting to break through to the celestial god realm, Kong Qinglu said to an elder beside her, "He's currently at a critical stage of cultivation. Don't disturb him for the time being. Even if the competition in the other areas ends, don't wake him up from his cultivation." Yes. Hearing Kong Qinglu's instructions, the elder immediately responded and began to pass down the decree. When the elder passed down the decree, he prevented others from disturbing Mo Qingyun's cultivation and even set up a protective array formation for Mo Qingyun. In the following time, Mo Qingyun cultivated wholeheartedly, condensing law threads one after another. 100, 200, 500, 1,000. Looking at Mo Qingyun's condensed nomological threads, the surrounding onlookers were all stunned. Is this guy still human? He actually condensed another 2,000 law threads. It's not 2,000 law threads. His cultivation hasn't ended yet. Looking at this trend, the number of law threads he condensed this time may reach more than 3,000. In this case, when he breaks through to the celestial god realm, won't his law threads be close to twice as many as others? Moreover, his law threads are powerful, close to 5 times as powerful as others. In this case, everyone's eyes immediately filled with fear as they looked at Mo Qingyun. If that was the case, Mo Qingyun was truly too terrifying. Time little by little, while Mo Qingyun's cultivation, the results of the other 10 other areas. The candidates in these 10 areas were as follows. First area. First Princess, Kong ran second area. First Prince Kong, Luo third. Seventh Princess, Kong Xuanin Region 4. 21st Princess, Kong Xianhua. Fifth Region, Zhenjiang Marquis Manor. Second Young Master, Zhen Ruochen. Region 6, Grand Elder Long Yuan's Residence. Eldest Young Master, Yuan Ruiying. Region 7, Third Prince, Kong Yu. Zone 8, the Second Prince, Kong He. Zone 9, Second Princess, Jiang Ruoshi. The 10th Zone, not out yet. Zone 11, Sixth Prince, Fan Rahai. These 10 people were all extremely strong. Every one of them was a half-step god emperor. More importantly, these superficial realms might not be their true realms. After these 10 people defeated their opponents, they looked at the situation of Mo Qingyun and Lu Li and began to refine the energy of the wooden tokens. In their opinion, since they had nothing to do, they might as well cultivate and increase their strength. After all, there would be a tougher battle to fight in a while. Increasing his strength would give him more confidence. As the people from the other 10 zones were selected, everyone's attention was focused on the 10th zone. At this moment, under everyone's attention, Yang Luo's cultivation ended. Perhaps it was because his cultivation level was too high. Even though he had refined the nameplate's energy, his cultivation level did not increase. However, compared to before, his aura was much stronger. This fellow is also refining the wooden tablet's energy. Seeing Mo Qingyun's situation, Yang Luo was slightly stunned. His eyes flashed with shock as he thought to himself, 4,300 nomological threads. He has condensed another 4,000 nomological threads. If I let him continue cultivating, his strength will definitely skyrocket. Even if I go all out against him, I'm afraid it won't be easy. As Yang Luo thought of this, he became anxious and prepared to stop Mo Qingyun's cultivation. Yang Luo thought for a while, and his expression turned cold. He said, Mo Qingyun, everyone's battle has ended. How dare you stall for time? Aren't you embarrassed to make everyone wait for you? As soon as Yang Luo finished speaking, he struck out his palm toward Mo Qingyun. Buzz! However, Yang Luo's palm was blocked by a transparent light barrier 10 meters away from Mo Qingyun. Seeing this, Yang Luo's face darkened. He knew what was going on. If he was not wrong, An elder must have set up a forbidden array formation outside Mo Qingyun. The purpose of this move was probably to prevent others from interfering and disturbing Mo Qingyun's cultivation. Yang Luo felt jealous when he thought about how he did not have any guards when he was cultivating. Why was the difference in treatment between him and Mo Qingyun so great? Although he was very unwilling, Yang Luo did not dare attack again. He only glared coldly at Mo Qingyun. Another few hours passed. Mo Qingyun still showed no signs of stopping cultivating. The people in the other areas had already finished cultivating. After refining the energy in the wooden tablet, their strength had increased, but they had not broken through. Seeing that the others had finished cultivating, Yang Luo glanced at Mo Qingyun and said with a dark face, "Patriarch, everyone's competition has ended. Mo Qingyun is delaying here. I think this is unfair to everyone. He should be disqualified." Hearing Yang Luo's words, the surrounding people began to whisper and point at Mo Qingyun and Kong Qingyun. Everyone naturally knew that Yang Luo's words were obviously an excuse to eliminate Mo Qingyun. Hearing Yang Luo's words, Kong Qinlu thought for a while and said, "Mo Qingyun is cultivating to break through to the heavenly god realm. This is an unexpected situation. We should give him a chance. However, it is not a good idea to let the other 10 groups wait. In that case, the other 10 groups will fight each other. When Mo Qingyun finishes cultivating and decides the winner with Yang Luo, he will fight the 10 of you." Hearing Kong Qingliu's words, everyone nodded. This was a good solution. There was no need for everyone to wait, and there was no need for Mo Qingyun to cultivate. Chapter 3365. Boom, boom, boom. Following Green Willow Kong's instructions, several elders acted together and removed the array formation around the battle area. While the isolation formation was removed, the originally split name wooden tokens began to slowly merge together. Not only that, but because Kong ran and the others were powerful, the battle would cause a great commotion. While the elders were consolidating the battlefield, they strengthened the stabilizing formation of the battlefield by a few degrees. Because Mo Qingyun and Yang Luo were not participating in the competition, the 10th area was not integrated, and the wooden tokens were not integrated. No one cared about this. Now that the other 10 areas were competing, it was to give Mo Qingyun time to cultivate, so he naturally could not be included. After a while, the integration of the battle area was completed. The 10 wooden tokens merged into one, and the opponents began to be assigned. The first names to fly out were 1st Prince Kong Ran and 6th Prince Fan Rahai. Seeing their names fly out, Kong Ran and Fan Rahai got up and walked to the center of the battle area. "Fan Rahai, you're no match for me. Back down." Kong Ran looked down at Fan Rahai with the attitude of an emperor. Fan Rahai was very unhappy with Kong Ran's attitude. He snorted and said, "Kong Ran, although you are very strong, I, Fan Rahai, am not a coward. It is absolutely impossible for you to make me admit defeat with just one sentence. If you want me to admit defeat, show me what you've got." As soon as Fan Rahai finished speaking, his figure flashed, and he took the lead to attack Kong Ran. The fact that Fan Rahai could hold the position of the 6th prince was enough to prove that he was extraordinary. He showed great strength as soon as he attacked. Just his aura alone was not weaker than Kong Shui and Yang Luo, and even more terrifying than the two. "You overestimate yourself." Kong Ran's expression did not change in the face of Fan Rahai's attack, and he casually blasted out a palm. Kong Ran blasted out a palm, and the powerful momentum of a half-step divine emperor erupted from his body. At the same time, more than 100,000 threads of law also condensed in the air above him. After the threads of law were formed, they integrated into his divine ability and crushed down on Fan Rahai. Bang! The two divine abilities collided and immediately burst out with a loud bang, creating a terrifying storm of divine power. As soon as the god power storm took shape, it spread out in all directions and swallowed Brahma Rahai whole. Then, Everyone saw a figure flying backward and crashing heavily into the stabilizing array of the battle stage. Kongran is so strong, as expected of the first prince. So the rumors are true. Kongran can really fight God Emperors. From the looks of it, Fan Rahai is definitely going to lose this battle. I wonder who will be stronger if Kong Ran meets Kong Luo. That's hard to say. Kong Luo's strength is also extremely strong. It's said that she can also fight against Divine Lord. Everyone exclaimed in surprise. Under everyone's surprised gazes, Kiran looked at Fan Rahai with an indifferent expression and said coldly, "Don't be like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. Save some strength for the next battle. If you continue to attack, I won't be polite anymore. I hope you won't embarrass yourself." Fan Rahai's face darkened at Kongran's words, and he said coldly, "Humph. Do you only know how to talk nonsense? Again, if you want me to admit defeat, then show me what you've got." Fan Rahai was very straightforward. As soon as he finished speaking, his figure flashed, and he took the initiative to attack again. Kongran was really angry at Fan Rahai's action. He shouted, "Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." As soon as Kongran said this, his attacks became fiercer, as if he didn't want to show mercy anymore. As Kongran attacked with all his strength, Fan Rahai's situation immediately became unfavorable. Under Kongran's powerful attacks, Fan Rahai was completely crushed. The two exchanged about 100 moves before Fan Rahai finally admitted defeat. The battle between the two was so intense that it couldn't be turned around by fighting spirit. You know your place. After defeating Fan Rahai, Kongran snorted softly and his expression improved a little. Fan Rahai didn't care about Kongran's attitude at all. A faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. "Kongran, I admit that you're very strong. I'm not your opponent now, but in the next holy war, the winner will definitely be me." After saying this, Fan Rahai walked to the side and sat cross-legged to cultivate and heal his injuries. What everyone didn't expect was that while Fan Rahai was cultivating and healing his injuries, his aura was actually rising rapidly. He was going to break through to the God Emperor realm. Fan Rahai is going to break through? So he had such an idea when he fought Kongran, borrowing Kongran's power to stimulate his potential and speed up the pace of breaking through to the God Emperor realm. What a good plan. If Fan Rahai breaks through to the God Emperor realm, he'll basically win the next battle. The others are in danger. God Emperor Fan Rahai's combat power is very terrifying. Everyone exclaimed. Unavoidably, Xianin and the others were worried. There were only a total of 10 spots to participate in the Holy War. Now that there were 11 people, one was bound to be eliminated. Although Mo Qingyun Duo didn't participate, it could be seen from the previous battle that Mo Qingyun Duo's combat power was powerful. Those who could make it here were all geniuses. No one was willing to be eliminated. As a result, the next round of sparring was bound to be a fierce battle between dragons and tigers. Amidst everyone's shock, 2 more names flew out. They were the second son of the Zhenjiang Marquis Mansion, Zhen Ruochen, and the third son, Kong Yu. Zhen Ruochen and Kong Yu went up and exchanged a few simple pleasantries before they fought fiercely. Because the difference in strength between the two wasn't great, their battle scene was more intense than Kongran's. Of course, Mo Qingyun didn't know anything about these people's battle. Now, he was wholeheartedly condensing the law threads and stabilizing his realm that he had just broken through. Time passed by little. After more than 2 hours, the aura emitted by Mo Qingyun gradually stabilized. Then, Mo Qingyun opened his eyes and showed a regretful expression. He shook his head and said, "It's a pity that the energy in the wooden token is a little less. It can only allow my cultivation to break through to the half-step Sky God realm. If only there was more, I would break through to the Sky God realm directly." Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. He abandoned the distracting thoughts in his mind and looked at the battlefield. He saw Kong Xianin fighting with someone and suppressing her opponent. Miss Xuanin's strength has improved very quickly recently. Seeing Kong Xuanin's performance, Mo Qingyun's eyes flashed with a touch of surprise. The last time they parted, Kong Xuanyin's strength wasn't at this level. Seeing that Mo Qingyun ignored him, Yang Luo immediately became angry and shouted, Mo Qingyun, since you're done with your cultivation, then fight with me. Don't delay any longer. Chapter 3366. Sorry, I was too engrossed in my cultivation just now and forgot about you. Mo Qingyun smiled apologetically after glancing at Yang Luo a few times and gave a simple explanation. Yang Luo's face instantly darkened when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. Mo Qingyun had gone too far. He actually dared to humiliate him like this. This guy's mouth is really mean. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Xian, who was sitting in the spectator stand, frowned slightly and said, Yang Luo is really unlucky to have met this guy. Yang Luo must be in a bad mood after being provoked by this guy's words. However, this guy provoked Yang Luo so much. If he is defeated by Yang Luo later, he will definitely be tortured badly. When Kong Xian thought of this, she had a strong sense of expectation. She wanted to see the battle between Mo Qingyun and Yang Luo. Qing Lu and Kong Xian also wanted to see Mo Qingyun fight. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had finished his cultivation, Kong Xian's expression relaxed slightly. She smiled faintly and said, The time is just right. If he didn't finish his cultivation, it would be troublesome if I wanted to delay the time after Kong ran and the others finished their battle. Now that he has finished his cultivation, it won't delay things at all. I hope that his next performance will bring me some surprises. It won't be in vain for me to make an exception for him again and again. After Kong Xian finished speaking, she also showed an expectant expression, waiting for Mo Qingyun's battle performance. Kong Lanyue nodded, but then frowned slightly and said, Yang Luo's current cultivation is only half a step away from the Celestial Emperor realm. I'm afraid it won't be easy for Mo Qingyun to defeat him. Kong Xian didn't speak. She just looked at Mo Qingyun with curiosity and expectation on her face. In the battle area, Mo Qingyun, I really didn't expect that the person who will fight me in the end would be you. Yang Luo suppressed the anger in his heart and looked at Mo Qingyun with a gloomy face. He gritted his teeth and said, However, this is also good. I can teach you a lesson with my own hands. As for me, when I defeat you later, it will be a celebration for me, making it to the final battle. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Yang Luo's words at all. He smiled faintly and said, I don't agree with you. I didn't fight with you in the end so that you could defeat me. On the contrary, I'm fighting you for your own good. You saw the situation of the first group's fight. Is that something you can participate in? With your strength, you'll be beaten to death if you participate. Now that I'm eliminating you, I'm saving your life. Mo Qingyun's words stunned the people around him. Before anyone could react, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed as he took the initiative to attack Yang Luo. Tai Dragon. Mo Qingyun conversed with the 10-winged Pegasus and instantly arrived in front of Yang Luo. He smiled and said, Although I saved your life out of goodwill, you kept on going against me. It's necessary to teach you a lesson. As Mo Qingyun spoke, he had already punched out with a terrifying aura. You sneaked an attack on me. Facing Mo Qingyun's attack, Yang Luo was so frightened that he quickly counterattacked. He really didn't expect that Mo Qingyun would suddenly attack. He didn't play by the rules at all. Looking at the fight between Kong Ran and the others, which one of them didn't use peaceful means before resorting to force? None of them attacked without a word like Mo Qingyun. Hearing Yang Luo's words, Mo Qingyun shook his head and said with a smile, Look at you. Am I sneaking an attack on you? I'm attacking openly, okay? With your mentality and experience, can you participate in the Holy War? Who are your opponents in the Holy War? Do you know? Are they all the geniuses of the Heaven Realm? They won't be like me, guiding you time and time again, taking care of you, and tolerating you. In your state, if you fight with them, you'll die at least 100 times. Listen to me. Admit defeat obediently and go home. Mo Qingyun's series of words made Yang Luo almost explode. These words were really too harsh. But what made him vomit blood was that he actually didn't know how to refute. This Mo Qingyun's mouth is really too powerful. Yang Luo is at a disadvantage in this aspect. Looking at Mo Qingyun's performance, Kong Qinglu smiled faintly and shook his head, but his expression was mixed with admiration. In a battle between experts, every detail was crucial, especially in psychological warfare. Clearly, in the psychological warfare segment, Mo Qingyun instantly defeated Yang Luo. "Shut up for me, go to hell." Yang Luo couldn't reason with Mo Qingyun. With a furious roar, he attacked Mo Qingyun crazily. Facing Yang Luo's attack, Mo Qingyun didn't meet it head-on and chose to temporarily avoid it. Yang Luo's half-step God Emperor strength was still very terrifying. Mo Qingyun wouldn't be able to gain any advantage in a head-on confrontation. This wasn't a wise choice. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed a few times and dodged Yang Luo's attack. He smiled and said, "How can you shout like this when fighting with others? Aren't you alerting others? Look, I'm so close to you, but you can't hit me. It's because you reminded me. Thank you." As Mo Qingyun's words fell, he blasted out a palm and blasted out a sharp palm shadow. Facing Mo Qingyun's palm shadow, Yang Luo didn't dare to be careless and immediately punched out to meet the palm shadow. Bang! Under Yang Luo's punch, the palm shadow was instantly dispersed and turned into a pure divine power. After neutralizing Mo Qingyun's attack with a punch, Yang Luo's attack didn't stop, and he continued to chase after Mo Qingyun. Perhaps he knew that he couldn't win against Mo Qingyun, so when Yang Luo attacked now, he didn't speak anymore. Seeing that Yang Luo didn't speak, Mo Qingyun didn't mind and exchanged blows with him unhurriedly. While he was fighting Mo Qingyun, he wasn't completely without purpose. He did this because he wanted to test Yang Luo's depth so that he could gauge his current strength. After a while, Yang Luo's attack was once again dodged by Mo Qingyun. Yang Luo's face darkened as he shouted, "Mo Qingyun, other than dodging, don't you have any other ability?" Hearing Yang Luo's words, Mo Qingyun stopped, and his eyes revealed a playful look. He said, "I played with you for so long. It's time to end the battle. If that's the case, I'll use my full strength and train with you." As Mo Qingyun's words fell, he activated 20,000 strands of nomological law to increase his battle strength. As the 20,000 strands of nomological law were activated, Mo Qingyun's aura immediately soared several times. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Yang Luo's expression became serious. He felt a threat from Mo Qingyun's body, so he didn't dare to underestimate him. Not only was Yang Luo nervous, but even the onlookers became nervous. Mo Qingyun was going to fight for real. Would he be a match for Yang Luo? Under everyone's nervous gaze, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, and he took the initiative to attack Yang Luo again. Chapter 3367. Divine Thunder Dragon Wave. Mo Qingyun clenched his fists. Divine power surged from his fists, causing the space around him to tremble. He punched out. Divine power surged out like waves, releasing dazzling lightning. Roar! As the divine power surged, it quickly transformed into a lightning dragon that pounced toward Yang Luo. As the lightning dragon pounced, the 20,000 threads of law above Mo Qingyun merged with it. The merging of the two threads of law caused the lightning dragon's aura to increase by several levels. Not only that, but the lightning dragon's size also increased several times in an instant. So strong. This lightning dragon's aura is almost comparable to that of an Emperor God expert. This guy is too monstrous. How'd he do it? It's not strange. With the strength of his law threads, his 20,000 law threads are comparable to our 100,000. Some weak Emperor gods can only condense 100,000 strands of law threads, Jian Wushuang said. The onlookers exclaimed. Under everyone's shocked gaze, the lightning dragon arrived in front of Yang Luo and waved its dragon claws at him. Lunar Ice Qilin Spear. Facing the dragon claws, Yang Luo did not retreat. He raised his hand and took out a strong spear. As soon as the long spear appeared, cold light shot out in all directions. It was like a year of ice, exuding a terrifying chill. As the chill surged, an even more domineering divine power erupted from the long spear. Roar! The divine power left the long spear and turned into a sky-blue giant beast. The scales on its body flashed with cold light. At the same time, Yang Luo activated nearly 100,000 threads of law and merged them into the blue giant beast body. Seeing Yang Luo's counterattack, Kong Qingliu's eyes jumped. She exclaimed, "The lunar spear and the ice Qilin technique. I didn't expect Yang Luo to refine the lunar spear and cultivate the ice Qilin technique. Mo Qingyun seems to be in trouble." Hearing Qingliu's words, Kong Lanyue's expression also became tense. He said, "The Great Yin Spear is the Great Yin Divine Emperor's natal magic treasure. At its peak, it reached the rank of quasi-ultimate god. Now, it's still a middle-grade divine emperor-level divine weapon. Even if Yang Luo hasn't completely refined it, the increase in battle strength is still terrifying. The Ice Qilin art is a peak-level god emperor realm cultivation technique. It can double the power of ice divine abilities. The power of Yang Luo's spear is enough to enter the top 10 of the emperor list." As Kong Lanyue and Kong Lanyue spoke, both of their expressions tightened, especially Azure Willow. Looking at her current behavior, it seemed that she was ready to intervene at any time to stop the battle. Boom! Under everyone's nervous gazes, the giant blue beast and the lightning dragon collided and fought crazily. For a moment, the battle between the two giant beasts had entered stalemate. He blocked it. Seeing this situation, Kong Qingliu and Kong Lanyue were both startled. They saw the respect in each other's eyes. They had thought that Mo Qingyun was already amazing for being able to block this attack. Who would have thought that not only did Mo Qingyun block the attack, but he was also able to fight evenly with it? "You have some skills to be able to block my attack." Looking at Mo Qingyun's performance, Mo Qingyun's face darkened. He said coldly, "Unfortunately, you've exhausted all your abilities to block my attack. If that's the case, it's time for our battle to end." As soon as Yang Luo's words fell, the long spear in his hand slashed down, and an even stronger burst of God Force erupted. This burst of God Force turned into a sharp spear light that swept towards Mo Qingyun. Facing the incoming spear light, Mo Qingyun did not retreat. Instead, a strong fighting spirit erupted from his body as he said, "You haven't fallen yet. How can I be at the end of my rope?" Dark Demon Dragon Sky, devouring roar. Mo Qingyun clenched his fists and raised his head to the sky with an angry roar. His body rapidly grew in size. At the same time, a monstrous dragon's aura erupted from Mo Qingyun's body. In the blink of an eye, Mo Qingyun had transformed into a giant dragon, his body exuding a bewitching bloody light. This is an amethyst thunder dragon? He is a monster? Isn't he from the Dark Demon Sky devouring clan? Where did this kid come from? What a freak! Everyone exclaimed in surprise. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, no one would have thought that Mo Qingyun would reveal his true dragon form. Moreover, Mo Qingyun's true form was an extremely rare and noble amethyst thunder dragon. Not only were the others shocked, but even Kong Qingliu and Kong Lanyue were stunned at this moment. Dragon race? Amethyst thunder dragon? In the information they had received, there was no such information. Previously, they had only received information that Mo Qingyun possessed the bloodline of an amethyst thunder dragon. Now that Mo Qingyun had transformed into an amethyst thunder dragon, it was completely different. This meant that Mo Qingyun wasn't a human, but a monster. He's a monster? Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Kong Xian was dumbfounded in place, feeling that her brain wasn't enough. While she was shocked, she also showed some disappointment on her face. It seems that he really isn't the person Ling Long is looking for. According to her memories, the person Ling Long was looking for absolutely couldn't be a monster. Roar. While everyone was shocked, a heaven-shaking dragon's roar came from Imo Qingyun's mouth. Immediately, a giant black dragon emerged from Imo Qingyun's body. When the black dragon met the spear light, 100,000 threads of law quickly gathered and merged into the black dragon's body. Soon, the spear light's attack was blocked by the black dragon, producing a terrifying divine power shockwave. As this shockwave spread, Yang Luo's gaze also became slack for a short moment. Looking at him, it seemed that his consciousness had been hit, causing him to become dizzy for a short moment. Seeing Yang Luo's situation, everyone was shocked. At this moment, a huge figure appeared in front of Yang Luo with a swoosh. Before Yang Luo could react, the giant figure waved its claws and swept towards Yang Luo's chest. When the dragon claws were close, Yang Luo regained consciousness and quickly blocked the tying spear in front of his chest. Clang! The dragon claws hit the tying spear, producing a deafening sound. At the same time, a terrifying divine power also acted on the tying spear and seeped into Yang Luo's body. Being hit by this force, Yang Luo was immediately sent flying, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Seeing such a scene, everyone's expression was greatly shocked. Each and every one of them was stunned on the spot. Yang Luo was injured. He was being suppressed by Imo Qingyun. Under everyone's shocked gazes, the giant dragon didn't stop. Its figure flashed again, chasing after Yang Luo. The dragon figure flashed a few times and arrived in front of Yang Luo, waving its claws at him again. Oomph! I was careless just now and let you succeed once. This time, you won't succeed. Looking at the dragon claws approaching rapidly, Yang Luo didn't retreat at all. The tying spear in his hand turned and pierced towards the dragon claws. Facing the attack of the tying spear, the giant dragon didn't continue to attack. Instead, it quickly retracted its claws and retreated. Although his physique was strong, he was still at a disadvantage when facing the tying spear. Seeing the giant dragon stop, Yang Luo's expression relaxed, and he charged forward to counterattack. Chapter 3368. Imo Qingyun, even if you revert to your original form, you're still no match for me. Yang Luo sneered as he chased after Imo Qingyun. It was as if he could see the outcome of the battle. Imo Qingyun smirked as he looked at the rapidly approaching Yang Luo. You seem to have forgotten the power of the Heavenly Might Overlord body. Heavenly Might's secret skill. Before Yang Luo could react, Imo Qingyun executed the Heavenly Might's secret skill to attack Yang Luo. As the Heavenly Might's secret skill was executed, dark clouds gathered above the battle stage and lightning surged. As the thunder clouds gathered, the array that stabilized the battle platform seemed to become unstable. So powerful is this the Heavenly Might Overlord body? Judging from the aura, an ordinary God Emperor's attack wouldn't be able to reach this level. Even a God Emperor couldn't block it. Can Yang Luo block it? How would I know? I'm not even a Divine King. Why don't you try? Get lost. You might be afraid of death, but I'm not. Everyone exclaimed when they saw the power of the Heavenly Might Overlord body. Kong Xian's beautiful eyes widened. She covered her mouth with both hands and said, "This guy really hid his strength well. He actually left such a trump card. I wonder if Yang Luo can block it? Patriarch, should we?" Seeing the aura of Imo Qingyun's Heavenly Might secret skill, some elders of the profound Heaven Sacred clan looked at Kong Qinglu worriedly. It was obvious what they meant. They were worried that the Heavenly Might secret skill was too powerful and would hurt Yang Luo. Kong Qinglu shook her head and said, "Don't worry. With Yang Luo's strength, even if he can't block the Heavenly Might secret skill, his life won't be in danger. Let's not interfere. Let Yang Luo block it. Maybe he has some other trump cards." Hearing Kong Qingluo's words, the elders stopped talking and looked at the 10th zone nervously. They never thought that the 10th zone, where the participants were ordinary, would have such a situation. Boom, boom, boom. Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, terrifying bolts of lightning descended from the sky. As these lightning bolts descended, Yang Luo, who was the first to be struck, was submerged. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, Yang Luo was like a target being bombarded by bolt after bolt of lightning. Although Yang Luo tried his best to defend himself, many lightning bolts still landed on his body. Looking at Yang Luo's situation, everyone couldn't bear it and felt some sympathy for him. Encountering an opponent like Mo Qingyun, this guy was really unlucky. A short while later, the lightning stopped descending and the thunderclouds in the sky dissipated, revealing Yang Luo's body. At that moment, Yang Luo was no longer as high-spirited and imposing as before. Instead, he appeared to be in an extremely sorry state. His hair was disheveled like withered grass, and his clothes were ragged. His entire body was charred black, and smoke was rising from many places. With his current appearance, even if he were to become a beggar, the beggar clan would not necessarily accept him. If he had to describe the current him, there was only one word to describe it: miserable. It was too tragic. Looking at Yang Luo's appearance, the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly. He smiled and said, "How is it? Does it feel good? Do you want to do it again?" As Mo Qingyun spoke, he once again activated the heaven's might overlord body, causing a gust of wind and clouds above the fighting ring to change color. Seeing such a scene, Yang Luo's body trembled, and he said coldly, "I admit defeat." As Yang Luo's words fell, he turned around and walked out of the fighting ring shakily. Seeing Yang Luo's appearance, an elder who was familiar with him immediately went forward to help him leave. "You're too timid. I just said it casually. I can't use it again." Looking at Yang Luo's back, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and teased him again. Listening to Mo Qingyun's words, Yang Luo's body trembled obviously, not knowing whether it was from anger or fear. However, to him, whether Mo Qingyun's words were true or not, it didn't matter. Now, not to mention that Mo Qingyun used the Heaven's Might's secret skill. Even a gentle push could knock him down. As Yang Luo left the fighting ring, the surroundings suddenly became quiet. At this moment, everyone's attention was focused on Mo Qingyun. Yang Luo was defeated. This meant that Mo Qingyun had advanced to the next round. Next, he would compete with the other 10 people for one of the 10 places in the Holy War. The next 10 people might be stronger than Yang Luo, and the battle would be more intense. While everyone was still in shock, Mo Qingyun didn't say anything and directly sat down cross-legged. Immediately, Mo Qingyun closed his eyes and immersed himself in cultivation again. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, everyone was puzzled and whispered to each other, "What is he trying to do?" Looking at him, I guess he was injured in the fight just now and is preparing to adjust his breath to recover. I don't think so. He looks more like he's trying to break through to the next realm. It's possible. He probably wanted to fight with Yang Luo just now, so he stopped cultivating. Look, he's condensing the line of law. He's really going to break through to the divine realm. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, everyone was amazed. They did not expect that Mo Qingyun had not reached his limit at this stage. Seeing Mo Qingyun's situation, the elder in charge of the battle looked at Kong Qinglu with a troubled expression and said, "Patriarch, Mo Qingyun is continuing to cultivate. In this way, the 10th zone still can't be integrated. What should we do?" Hearing the elder's request, Kong Qinglu frowned slightly, thought for a moment, and said, "The other 10 people's battles are not over yet, and the rankings are not out yet. Mo Qingyun's battle with them is not urgent. When the 10 people's rankings are out, Mo Qingyun will fight with the last person, and the 10 people who have advanced will naturally be out." Hearing Kong Qingliu's words, the elder did not speak anymore and continued to lead Kong Rant's battle. As for Mo Qingyun, there was another elder guarding him to prevent his cultivation from being disturbed. Next, time passed little by little as Mo Qingyun cultivated. As time passed, the number of line of law condensed by Mo Qingyun also increased. 100, 200, 300, 500, 800, 1,000. After an unknown period of time, the number of line of law condensed by Mo Qingyun finally reached a limit. 5,000. The number of line of law condensed by Mo Qingyun this time reached 5,000 again. Looking at the 5,000 strands of law in the sky, the surrounding people were stunned. Each and every one of them had a solemn look on their faces. In this way, wouldn't the number of line of law condensed by Mo Qingyun reach 25,000? Just as everyone thought that Mo Qingyun had only condensed 25,000 line of law, Mo Qingyun thought to himself, 30,000 line of law should be my limit. It's time to break through to the divine realm. With this thought, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and began to break through to the divine realm. Chapter 33:69. Half a day later, the battles of Kong Ran and the others were over, and the rankings of the 10 were out. First, Kong Ran. Second, Kong Luo Er. Third, Kong Xianin. Fourth, Yuan Ruiying. Fifth, Kong He. Sixth, Kong Xinhua. Seventh, Kong Yu. Eighth, Jiang Ruoxi. Ninth, Fan Rahai. 10th, Zhen Ruochen. When the rankings of Kong Ran and the others were out, everyone looked at Mo Qingyun, waiting for the next battle. I didn't expect Mr. Mo to advance. It's very surprising. Looking at Mo Qingyun in the 10th zone, Kong Xuanyue's beautiful eyes trembled and were filled with surprise. When she first met Mo Qingyun was only at the Great Divine Realm, and his strength was only comparable to an ordinary Divine Realm expert. She didn't expect Mo Qingyun's strength to improve so much in just a few months. Mr. Mo's talent is extraordinary, and his cultivation speed is naturally not comparable to ours. Compared to Kong Xuanyue's surprise, Kong Xianin was very calm and didn't find it strange. She said, "Moreover, Mr. Mo still has a few divine powers that he hasn't used yet. If he fights with all his strength, we won't be a match for him." Kong Xianwen nodded in agreement. Out of everyone present, the one who understood Mo Qingyun the most was undoubtedly her. Hearing the conversation between Kong Xianin and Kong Xianyue, Kong Luo was surprised and said, "Xianin, Xianyue, do you know him?" After Kong Luo finished speaking, she showed a curious look and waited for Kong Xianin and Kong Xuanyue's response. "Yes." Kong Xianin nodded and said, "We traveled with Mr. Mo on the way to Carefree Valley. Also, we were the ones who led young Master Mo to the clan this time." Kong Xuanin's explanation made the curiosity in Kong Luo's eyes grow even stronger. Kong Luo said excitedly, "Since that's the case, tell me about him." Kong Luo's reaction surprised Kong Xianin and Kong Luo, but after thinking about it, they decided to tell Kong Luo. While they were talking, the second young master of the Marquis estate, Zhen Ruochen, walked in front of them and said, "Princesses, I will be fighting Mo Qingyun in a bit. Can you tell me about his situation?" Hearing Zhen Ruochen's request, Kong Xianyue and Kong Xianyue exchanged a glance. Kong Xianyue said, "Zhen Ruochen, it's not that I want to discourage you, but if you fight with Mo Qingyun, you have no chance of winning. I advise you to obediently admit defeat when you fight him later." Zhen Ruochen was speechless. He wanted Kong Xianyue to reveal some information, not to attack him. Seeing Zhen Ruochen's expression change, Kong Xianin hurriedly comforted him. "Zhen Ruochen, Xuanyue's words were a bit rude. I hope you don't take offense. Mr. Mo has several powerful divine powers. If you can force him to use these divine powers, you can force him to use his full combat strength. If you can't even do this, it will be extremely difficult for you to defeat Mr. Mo." Zhen Ruochen was speechless again. This was too much of a blow. Although he was a little speechless, Zhen Ruochen didn't know more about Mo Qingyun's situation. What shocked him was that Mo Qingyun had not used his full strength after defeating so many opponents. This was really terrifying. Boom! Under everyone's gazes, the aura that Mo Qingyun emitted suddenly became a little stronger. His cultivation had broken through, and he had successfully advanced to the heavenly god realm. Sensing the change in Mo Qingyun's aura, Zhenruochen's expression immediately became more unsightly. Mo Qingyun's cultivation had broken through, which also meant that his strength had become stronger. After Mo Qingyun's cultivation had successfully broken through, he withdrew from cultivation and looked at Kong Ran and the others. When he saw Kong Xianin and Kong Xianyue, he smiled at them and slowly walked toward them. He smiled and said, "Miss Xianin, Miss Xianyue, I didn't expect that we would meet again in such a place." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Xianin smiled faintly and said, "I really didn't expect that Mr. Mo's strength would improve so much after not seeing him for a while. It seems that in the coming holy war, Mr. Mo, we will have to trouble you to take care of us." As soon as Kong Xianin finished speaking, Kong Xianyue looked excited and said, "Mr. Mo, have you found the person you were looking for?" "No." Mo Qingyun shook his head and said, "However, when this qualification battle is over, it will be much easier for me to find her." Kong Xianin and Kong Xianin thought for a while and quickly understood what Mo Qingyun meant and what he was referring to. According to Mo Qingyun's performance, once the qualification battle was over, he would be famous in the mysterious Heaven Holy clan. If Mo Qingyun's old friends were here, they would definitely know about him and take the initiative to look for Mo Qingyun. "Hey, did you two forget about me when you saw the handsome guy?" Seeing Mo Qingyun and the others chatting happily and directly ignoring her, Kong Luo'er was a little dissatisfied. Hearing Kong Luo'er's words, Mo Qingyun and the others were stunned, and only then did they notice Kong Luo'er next to them. Kong Xianin was slightly stunned, and then she introduced Mo Qingyun and Kong Xianin to her. Soon, Mo Qingyun and Kong Luo'er became familiar with each other and chatted happily. At this time, an elder walked out and said, "Since Mo Qingyun has completed his breakthrough, let's continue the competition to determine the 10 people participating in the Holy War." Just now, the second young master of the Border Suppression Marquis Mansion, Zhenruochen, had the highest ranking. Then, let him fight with Mo Qingyun to determine who will be eliminated. Hearing this elder's words, Zhenruochen's expression became dignified, and he slowly walked towards the center of the arena. "I'm going over." Seeing Zhenruochen walk towards the battle area, Mo Qingyun didn't waste any time and walked out after giving some instructions. Soon, Mo Qingyun and Zhenruochen were confronting each other, and a strong smell of gunpowder erupted. "Young Master Mo, please go easy on me later." Looking at Mo Qingyun in front of him, Zhenruochen politely greeted him. In response to Zhenruochen's greeting, Mo Qingyun politely nodded. Mo Qingyun's performance made Zhenruochen gloomy for a while and also produced some annoyance. Looking at Mo Qingyun's posture, it seemed that he really intended to show mercy. Was he looking down on him? "Since you're ready, let's start the competition." Seeing Mo Qingyun and Kong Xianin exchange politely, the elder in charge of the complicated competition urged them to start. At this moment, Mo Qingyun and Kong Xianin were about to fight. Kong Ran, who had won first place, suddenly walked out of the crowd and said, "Patriarch, Mo Qingyun is not a member of our clan. Letting him participate in the qualification competition is already the greatest privilege. Therefore, I think that the difficulty of his challenge should be increased. Otherwise, it would be too unfair to the others." Kong Qinglu frowned and said, "Kong Ran, who do you think you should fight?" Chapter 3370. Me. Kong Ran didn't beat around the bush and gave a direct answer. After a pause, he continued, "If he can't defeat me, I won't recognize him even if he defeats Zhenruochen. I believe the others think the same. If he can defeat me, it means that his strength is above all of us. With such strength, no one will be dissatisfied with his ranking in the Holy War." Hearing Kong Ran's words, the people around were stunned. Was Kong Ran provoking Mo Qingyun? "Mr. Mo, you're in big trouble." Seeing Kong Ran's reaction, Kong Luo'er blinked her beautiful eyes and said with a playful expression, "It's said that Kong Ran is interested in Zhen Ruochen's sister. Now he's standing up for her. Maybe it's because of this." Mo Qingyun was speechless. He really didn't expect there to be such a secret. Kong Xuaning's pretty face tightened after hearing Kong Luoer's words. She said, "It's fine if no one takes the lead. Now that Kong Ran has stood up, I'm afraid the others will agree." Sure enough, as soon as Kong Xianing finished speaking, several people agreed with Kong Ran. "That's right. Mo Qingyun isn't a member of our clan. How can we let him take a place? In my opinion, we should cancel his qualification now and directly exclude him." "You can't say that. If he's really strong, he could be qualified. In this way, he will have to fight Kong Ran. I'll only recognize his qualification if he defeats Kong Ran." Everyone was dissatisfied. Hearing everyone's words, Zhen Ruochen was overjoyed and his eyes flashed. He said, "Kong Ran is right. Mo Qingyun isn't qualified in the first place. Now that he's participating in the qualification battle, it's already a special case. Therefore, if he wants to compete for a place, it'll be more difficult. He has to defeat the strongest." If there was anyone present who was most unwilling to fight with Mo Qingyun, it was undoubtedly Zhen Ruochen. His strength was probably not much stronger than Yang Luo and Kong Shui. Mo Qingyun had not broken through to the heavenly god realm, yet he was able to crush Yang Luo and defeat him. Now that Mo Qingyun's cultivation had improved, it would not be difficult for him to defeat Zhen Ruochen. Since the possibility of losing was extremely high, Zhen Ruochen naturally didn't want to take the risk. He would fight with Mo Qingyun to determine his qualifications. Seeing everyone's reaction, Mo Qingyun was also surprised. He was very surprised by this turn of events. Immediately, Mo Qingyun looked at Kong Ran, considering how to deal with it. While Mo Qingyun was sizing up Kong Ran, Kong Qinglu and a group of elders began to discuss how to deal with it. This matter could be big or small. He had to come up with a foolproof plan. After all, the status and weight of Kong Ran and the others were not the same as the previous people. This guy is troublesome. He's being targeted by Kong Ran. Kong Xian's pretty face was shocked when she saw the change. She said, "Kong Ran's strength may be a little stronger than an ordinary saintess. Mo Qingyun's strength is not weak. Can he fight with Kong Ran?" While everyone was surprised and curious, Kong Qinglu and the others discussed and decided to adopt Kong Ran's suggestion. She said, "Kong Ran's suggestion is more reasonable. Whether Mo Qingyun can qualify or not will be determined by his battle with Kong Ran." Green Sky Willow's words immediately stunned everyone. The difference between Mo Qingyun's battle with Kong Ran and Zhen Ruochen's battle was too great. "Mo Qingyun, good luck to you." Hearing Kong Qingliu's words, Zhen Ruochen smiled proudly and turned to walk out of the battle area. Presumably, in his opinion, Kong Ran was bound to win the battle between Mo Qingyun and Kong Ran. In this way, he wouldn't be eliminated. Hearing Zhen Ruochen's words, Mo Qingyun looked at his back and said with a smile, "My luck has always been very good. You, on the other hand, don't seem to have much luck. As for you, it's someone else's turn to decide whether you can participate in the holy war or not." Mo Qingyun's few words of ridicule made Zhen Ruochen's face turn extremely ugly. Although he didn't want to agree, he had to admit it. Mo Qingyun's words were exactly what he was unwilling to accept. His fate was controlled by someone else. As soon as Zhen Ruochen walked down, Kong Ran raised his head and slowly walked to the battle arena. Kong Ran came to the battle arena and glanced at Mo Qingyun, saying, "I didn't mean to target you. It's just that you're unlucky to have to fight with Zhen Ruochen. You may have to replace him. Therefore, I didn't wait to step up and eliminate you in advance." Hearing Kong Ran's words, Mo Qingyun shook his head and said, "I don't think you have the ability to eliminate me in advance. You, on the other hand, this has nothing to do with you. Why did you have to meddle in other people's business? What if Zhen Ruochen was eliminated after you took action? What would you do then?" Kong Ran didn't care about Mo Qingyun's ridicule. He just smiled confidently and said, "That kind of thing will never happen to me. If I want to defeat you, it'll take at most 10 moves." As soon as Kong Ran's words fell, he released his aura and pressed down on Mo Qingyun. Under Kongran's aura, Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn, and he couldn't help but take a few steps back. So strong. Sensing the pressure of Kongran's aura, Mo Qingyun was shocked and said, "I'm afraid his strength has reached the God Emperor level. He can defeat ordinary early-stage God Emperors." While Mo Qingyun was surprised, he didn't dare to be careless and immediately urged his bloodline and physique. Amethyst Thunder Dragon Physique. Absolute beginning dark creation bloodline. As his bloodline and physique were urged, a powerful aura also erupted from Mo Qingyun's body. The two auras canceled each other out, and the pressure on Mo Qingyun instantly decreased by a lot. What a waste of effort! Seeing Mo Qingyun withstanding the aura, Kongran's eyes turned cold, and he took the lead to attack Mo Qingyun. Kongran raised his palm, and a violent divine power gathered in his palm like a whirlwind. Then a huge palm blasted out, fusing more than 100,000 law threads. Facing Kongran's palm, Mo Qingyun's expression tensed, and he hurriedly blocked it. Soon, 25,000 law threads condensed above Mo Qingyun's head. Divine Thunder Dragon Transformation Wave. Mo Qingyun punched out. Divine power gathered crazily on his fist and blasted out a black dragon shadow. Dragon shadow left his fist and fused with 25,000 law threads. His aura instantly skyrocketed a few notches. Then, the palm shadow and the dragon shadow collided with each other, making a loud noise that shook the sky. However, at this time, neither Mo Qingyun nor Kongran retreated. Their figures flashed and charged at each other. Seeing such a scene, the surrounding people were shocked, and all of them looked nervous. Mo Qingyun and Kongran were going to face each other head-on. Chapter 3371. Crack, crack, crack. A series of cracking sounds were heard. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Under the Dragon Claw's claw, the giant palm began to shatter bit by bit, and cracks began to appear. Almost in an instant, the giant palm shadow with astonishing momentum tore the giant dragon into pieces. Roar! After tearing the giant palm apart, the giant black dragon raised its head and roared, as if to vent the excitement in its heart. With a low roar, the black dragon swung its tail and swooped down at Kongran. The giant black dragon was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it arrived in front of Kongran and swung its claw at him. Looking at this scene, everyone's expression was one of shock. Mo Qingyun actually suppressed Kongran. Is there a mistake? It should be that Kongran hasn't used his full strength yet. Otherwise, such a situation wouldn't have happened. It must be so. Mo Qingyun has activated 25,000 law threads. Obviously, he's going all out. Mo Qingyun's amazing performance made everyone feel incredulous. Facing the giant black dragon's attack, Kongran's eyelids trembled, and a hint of surprise appeared in his eyes. He was instantly crushed in a head-on confrontation with Mo Qingyun. I underestimated you. Although he was a little surprised, he did not panic. He quickly adjusted his mentality and counterattacked. Blood dyed the sky. Kongran grabbed with his right hand, and a blood sword appeared in his hand. He slashed at the giant black dragon. As the blood sword was waved, it emitted a threatening aura, causing the space to tremble. Not only that, under the impact of the powerful blood chi, the giant black dragon's body showed some signs of decay. Break! With a slash of the sword, a bewitching blood-colored sword light blasted out from the blood sword. The blood-colored light flashed and blasted on the giant black dragon's claw, instantly corroding the giant claw. Seeing the giant black dragon being defeated, Mo Qingyun's expression was shocked. He thought to himself, what a powerful blood sword. It's even more powerful than Yang Luo's tying spear. Is it an ultimate god-level divine weapon? While Mo Qingyun was shocked, the surrounding onlookers were also shocked. What kind of weapon is this? What a terrifying, bloodthirsty power. It's so far away and isolated by a formation. The aura of that blood sword makes my heart palpitate. It's too terrifying. Could this blood sword's grade have reached the ultimate god level? Yes, this blood sword is ultimate god level. It's the god-slaying blood demon sword that caused a sensation. What? Didn't the god-slaying blood demon sword follow the blood demon, supreme god, into the void a billion years ago? Everyone was shocked when they learned the origin of the blood, sort of the blood of the sword. Chapter 3374. I said, I won't lose to you. Translator, Lon_editor. Effidation on the attack of the Door of Death made Kong Ran lose his mind, and his expression became very ferocious. Kong Ran roared. His left hand began to form a handprint and pointed at the god-slaying blood demon sword. This action was exactly the same as when he had touched the seal of the god-slaying blood demon sword. The only difference was that the handprint he formed now was more complicated than before. He was going to lift the second seal of the god-slaying blood demon sword. Oh no! Seeing Kong Ran's action, Elder Kong Run, who had been calm all this time, showed an anxious and worried expression. Immediately, Kong Ren's figure flashed, and he flashed toward the fighting ring. Coming to the front of the fighting ring, Kong Ren did not think much and directly slapped the ring with his palm. Kong Ren, stop it! Seeing Kong Ren's action, Kong Qinglu and the other elders all reprimanded him coldly. Kong Ren's action would destroy the fighting ring and gather the surrounding formation. In this way, Mo Qingyun, who was in the middle of the fighting ring, would be in a dangerous situation. If he was the slightest bit careless, Mo Qingyun would be severely injured by Kong Ren's palm. In response to Kong Qinglu and the other elders' reprimand, Kong Run did not restrain himself at all. Instead, his attack became stronger. Seeing Kong Ren's action, Kong Qinglu and the others could not sit still and flashed toward the fighting ring. Looking at this scene, the surrounding onlookers were stunned. What was going on? How did it become like this? Bang! While the crowd was shocked and curious, the stabilizing formation of the fighting ring was broken by Kong Ren's palm. Following the shattering of the stabilizing formation, a violent fluctuation of formation energy began to wreak havoc on the battle stage. What a terrifying divine power fluctuation! It's not something I can withstand. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun's expression changed, and a strong sense of fear arose. While Mo Qingyun was shocked, he did not hesitate at all. He raised his right hand and slapped forward. Soon, a door of light that emitted dazzling light formed in front of him. When the door of light formed, Mo Qingyun took a step forward and entered the door of light. Shortly after, the door of light dissipated, and Mo Qingyun disappeared as well. When Mo Qingyun reappeared, he was already outside the arena, standing near the spectator stands in midair. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the surrounding people were once again shocked, unable to recover from their shock. However, before they could think further, Kong Ren arrived in front of Kong Ran. Condense. Arriving in front of Kong Ran, Kong Ren didn't hesitate and quickly formed a handprint. Immediately, this handprint hit the god-slaying blood demon sword, and once again sealed the loosened seal. Everyone attack. Suppress the formation energy storm. While Kong Ren was resealing the god-slaying blood demon sword, Kong Qinglu ordered the elders to suppress the ripples of array power on the battle stage. After a short while, Kong Qinglu and the others attacked, and the battle arena's formation was shattered, and the fluctuations of the formation energy were suppressed. After suppressing the raging fluctuations of the formation energy, Kong Qinglu's expression relaxed, and he turned to look at Kong Ren. Kong Qinglu glared at him. "Elder Kong Ren, you're too reckless. If you hurt the juniors around because of this, you won't be able to explain it to everyone. When the matter here is resolved, you can go to the cliff yourself and reflect on this matter." Hearing Kong Qinglu's words, Kong Ren's expression changed, but in the end, he didn't refute. He also knew that he was too impatient just now and didn't think things through. Seeing that Kong Ren didn't speak, Kong Qinglu looked at Kong Ren. "Kong Ren, with your current cultivation, it's too dangerous to activate the god-slaying blood demon sword. Later, hand it over to the clan." Hearing Kong Qinglu's words, Kong Ren's face was full of unwillingness, but he still refused to accept it. He was very clear about the situation just now. It could be said that it was quite dangerous. If Kong Ren had come a little later, he would have been devoured by the god-slaying blood demon sword. Thinking of this, Kong Ren turned to look at Mo Qingyun, his eyes full of hatred and anger. In his opinion, if it wasn't to deal with Mo Qingyun, he wouldn't have come to this step. After glaring at Mo Qingyun a few times, Kong Ren showed an indifferent expression. "Patriarch, Mo Qingyun should leave the battle area first. The result of our battle should be my victory. According to the previous agreement, if he doesn't defeat me, he won't be qualified to participate in the Holy War." Hearing Kong Ren's words, the expressions of the onlookers became interesting. They didn't expect Kong Ren to be so thick-skinned that he could even say such words. Did he really win the battle just now? Kong Ren, this guy is still as thick-skinned and shameless as before. Looking at Kong Ren's performance, Kong Xian showed a disdainful expression, showing disdain for him. Hearing Kong Ren's words, Kong Qinglu's beautiful eyes frowned tightly, thinking about how to announce the result. Before Kong Qinglu could speak, Mo Qingyun sneered and said, "Your first place on the prince list is ranked according to how thick-skinned you are, right?" "You." Hearing Mo Qingyun's ridicule, Kong Ren was furious, his eyes widened in anger, and he gnashed his teeth. However, Mo Qingyun didn't care about his anger at all. "What about you? If it wasn't because of how thick-skinned you are, how could someone as shameless as you get first place on the prince list? Don't you know who won the fight between you and me just now? If it wasn't for this old man's interference, I could have killed you." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Ren's beard immediately puffed up, and his old face tightened with anger. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Kong Ren's anger. When the old man attacked just now, he didn't care about his safety at all, so why should he respect Kong Ren? Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Kong Ren's face darkened. "Mo Qingyun, the reason why I was suppressed by you is that it was just a competition, not a real life-and-death battle. If it was a real life-and-death battle, I would have unlocked the seal of the god-slaying blood demon sword and displayed its true power. I would have killed you with my sword." Seeing Kong Ren's performance, Mo Qingyun's smile widened. "What a coincidence. When I fought with you just now, I also thought the same. I felt that it was just a competition, not a real life-and-death battle, so I didn't fight with all my strength. Let me tell you a secret. I didn't even use 10% of my strength when I fought with you just now. If I used all my strength, I could kill you with one finger. Then you wouldn't have the chance to show off here." Mo Qingyun's words immediately made Kong Ren speechless, and he didn't know how to refute. He didn't expect Mo Qingyun to be so eloquent and thick-skinned. Was he the one showing off now? The one showing off now was Mo Qingyun, right? Chapter 3375. What? Are you not convinced? Why don't we fight again? Looking at the unfriendly Kong Ren, Mo Qingyun challenged him again with a faint smile. Facing Mo Qingyun's challenge, Kong Ren clenched his fists in anger, but he did not agree. At this time, Kongren glanced at Mo Qingyun and snorted, "Boy, this old man advises you to quit while you're ahead. Be careful that you don't get carried away and end up in sorrow." Mo Qingyun did not care about Kong Ren's warning and reprimand. He smiled and said, "Senior, you must be joking. I don't agree with your point of view. Since I have the advantage and the enemy refuses to admit defeat, I naturally have to take advantage of the victory and pursue. How can I give a drowning dog a chance to breathe? Kong Ran, don't you think so?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the anger in Kong Ran's heart immediately became stronger. Kong Ran gritted his teeth and clenched his fists, looking like he was going to fight again. However, before Kong Ran agreed, he was stopped by Kong Ran. "Everyone be quiet." Azure Willow calmed the fluctuations of the formation. She looked around with a solemn expression and said, "Regarding the battle between Mo Qingyun and Kong Ran, I think everyone should have seen the situation. Although they didn't decide the winner, Mo Qingyun's strength is beyond doubt. He is absolutely qualified to participate in the Holy War. Therefore, I've decided that Zhenruochen's spot will be replaced by Mo Qingyun." As soon as Azure Willow Sky's decision was made, the surrounding people began to whisper and point at each other. I didn't expect that after going around in a circle, Zhenruochen's spot would still be taken away. With Mo Qingyun's strength, it's normal for him to get a spot. Zhenruochen must be very depressed to get such a result, right? Everyone looked at Zhenruochen with some sympathy. Originally, he thought that his spot would be saved after Kong Ran appeared and fought with Mo Qingyun. Unexpectedly, Mo Qingyun's strength was so strong that even Kong Ran's appearance was not enough. This guy is really going to become famous this time. Thinking back to Mo Qingyun's previous performance, Kong Xian could not help but sigh. He made a decision in his heart and said, "The outer world remains are filled with danger. Joining hands with this guy should be a good choice. Regardless of whether he is the person Ling Long is looking for or not, based on his previous behavior, I have to tell Ling Long soon after." Kong Xian stood up and flew out of the square. Seeing Green Willow Kong announce the result, Mo Qingyun revealed an emotional expression. He cupped his hands towards Green Willow Kong and said, "Thank you, Senior." Kong Qinglu didn't say anything in response to Mo Qingyun's greeting. She only nodded calmly. Following this, Azure Willow Kong went to take care of some matters and work on the results of the qualification contest. After Mo Qingyun's battle ended, Kong Xianin and Kong Xianyue walked over and said, "Mr. Mo, congratulations on obtaining a spot to participate in the Holy War. Also, with your amazing performance just now, your name will definitely spread quickly. At that time, your friend will definitely know and come to the royal bloodline Holy Land to contact you." Kong Xianyu and Kong Xianyu's words made Mo Qingyun happy. If what they said was true, then it couldn't be better. While Mo Qingyun and the other two were talking, Kong Qinglu walked out of the high platform and said, 3 days later, the 10 people who have obtained a spot to participate in the Holy War will gather here. An elder will lead you to the outer world remains." Hearing Kong Qingliu's instructions, Mo Qingyun and the others nodded and left together. After leaving the battle square, Mo Qingyun separated from Kong Xianin and Kong Xianin and returned to his residence. In the previous battles, his cultivation had broken through again and again. He had to seize the time to stabilize it. In an elegant courtyard in the royal bloodline Holy Land, after Kong Xian left the battle square, she hurriedly came here. "Ling Long, it's a pity that you didn't watch the battle." When Kong Xian came to the courtyard, she was full of exultation as she described the process of the battle. Ling Long didn't have much interest in Kong Xian's story and didn't show the slightest emotion. Seeing Ling Long's reaction, Kong Xian was a little disappointed but still said excitedly, "Ling Long, if I didn't see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't dare to believe that Mo Qingyun's talent is so monstrous. Weren't we discussing who to join forces with in the Outer World Remains? That Mo Qingyun is very strong. He's not any weaker than Kong Ran. I think he's a good choice." Hearing Kong Xian mention Mo Qingyun, Ling Long raised her head and a flash of interest flashed in her eyes. After a moment of silence, Ling Long thought for a while and said, "You can make the decision. It doesn't matter to me whether I join forces with others or not." Seeing Ling Long's reaction, Kong Xian felt helpless again and said, "Ling Long, I know very well that you don't care about the results of the Holy War, but the outer world remains are full of danger. We can find a few strong helpers. At least we can have more protection." Ling Long nodded and didn't say anything else. After discussing with Ling Long, Kong Xian thought for a while and said, "Oh right, I haven't discussed with Mo Qingyun about joining forces with him. Do you have any message that you want me to convey? If not, I'll go over now." Ling Long shook her head. "In that case, I'll go over first." Seeing that Ling Long had nothing to say, Kong Xian didn't stay and went to find Mo Qingyun without stopping. After Kong Xian left, a flash of hope flashed in Ling Long's eyes. She thought, "Is it you? If he's not you, where are you now? Did you choose to stay in the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan? Or did you leave the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan and are on the way to the Heaven Realm?" Ling Long muttered to herself. She regained her calmness and walked back to her room. Not long after leaving Ling Long's room, Kong Xian hurriedly came to Mo Qingyun's courtyard. When Kong Xian entered the courtyard, she looked around and looked at Shun and Kong Xian who were guarding the courtyard. She said, "Where did Mo Qingyun go? I have something to discuss with him." Seeing Kong Xian's action, Shun and Kong Xian felt helpless and a bitter smile appeared on their faces. Kong Xian really came at a bad time. Mo Qingyun was cultivating in seclusion again. And Shun replied, "Miss, you came at a bad time. Master just went into seclusion not long ago." Hearing in Chen's words, Kong Xian was dumbfounded and a depressed expression appeared on her face. How could it be so coincidental? At this time, when Kong Xian was depressed in her heart, Mo Qingyun walked out of the house and said, "Miss, you came to find me a few times in a hurry. I wonder what's the matter?" Seeing Mo Qingyun walk out, Shun and Kong Xian were stunned and felt a little surprised. And Kong Xian at the side, seeing that Mo Qingyun was not in seclusion, immediately showed a surprised smile and went to greet him. Chapter 3376. So you're not in seclusion. Walking in front of Mo Qingyun, Kong Xian said excitedly, "I came to find you because I have something important to discuss." Oh, Mo Qingyun's interest was piqued. He and Kong Xian did not know each other. Since she had come to find him several times, she probably had something to discuss. Mo Qingyun made an inviting gesture and sat down with Kong Xian. He poured a cup of tea for her and waited for her to explain her purpose. Kong Xian sat down. She did not beat around the bush and said, "The last time I came to find you, it was mainly to ask about your origins, but this is no longer important. I came to find you because I want to discuss with you how we can look after and cooperate after entering the outer world ruins." Hearing Kong Xian's words, Mo Qingyun's expression was slightly startled and puzzled. "Miss, there are a total of 20 people participating in the Holy War, and many of them are powerful. Why did you choose me? In contrast, they are your clansmen. It is more reasonable for you to cooperate with them." Seeing Mo Qingyun's puzzlement, Kong Xian rolled her eyes at him. "Isn't this a very simple matter? You fought Kong, ran to a draw before, which shows that your true strength is at the top of the princes and princesses. Although some of the 10 Sanuses are stronger than the princes and princesses, they're all competing for the Sanus ranking and will not cooperate with us. Moreover, some of the 36 princesses also want to take our place. Therefore, I thought about it repeatedly, and you're the most suitable. At least there is no conflict of interest between us." After listening to Kong Xian's explanation, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding, thinking that her considerations were very reasonable. In this case, Mo Qingyun was indeed much more suitable than the others. Mo Qingyun wasn't in a hurry to agree to Kong Xian's request. After some consideration, he asked, "Based on what I've said, there's indeed no problem with you choosing to cooperate with me. It will also be beneficial for you. But what good would that do for me? If there are no benefits, Why would I cooperate with you? Just like you said, there is no conflict of interest between us. I believe that many of you are willing to cooperate with me. Kong Xian was dumbfounded. Mo Qingyun's question had indeed stumped her. Mo Qingyun was right. Since there was no benefit to Mo Qingyun, why should he cooperate with them? Also, Mo Qingyun was not overconfident when he said that someone was willing to work with him. As long as Mo Qingyun said it, there would definitely be many people willing to cooperate with him. At the very least, Kong Xianin and Kong Xianyue, who were familiar with Mo Qingyun, would definitely be willing to cooperate with Mo Qingyun. Well, I really haven't thought about this problem. Kong Xian was also very calm, and after being at a loss for words for a while, she simply admitted it. Kong Xian hesitated for a moment and said, "What benefits do you want? Just tell me directly. If I can do it, I will do my best to help you." Kong Xian's straightforwardness made Mo Qingyun's impression of her become much better. Given Kong Xian's character, cooperating with her seemed like a good choice. Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and said, "My request is very simple. In fact, I came to the sacred clan of Kong Xiantian mainly to find someone. If you agree to help me, I will accept your cooperation." Hearing Mo Qingyun's request, Kong Xian was stunned. "You only need me to help you find someone? So simple?" She had originally thought that Mo Qingyun would make some excessive request, such as a large amount of cultivation resources or something like that. In the end, Mo Qingyun only wanted to help her find someone. This was really too surprising. "Yes." Mo Qingyun nodded and gave her an affirmative answer. Seeing Mo Qingyun nod his head, Kong Xian's expression relaxed, and she laughed. "What kind of request is this? Finding someone couldn't be easier. I won't take advantage of you. Consider finding someone as a compliment. You can make another request." Kong Xian's straightforwardness surprised Mo Qingyun and made him have a better impression of her. Mo Qingyun shook his head and smiled. "Just help me find someone. Forget about the other requests." Seeing Mo Qingyun's insistence, Kong Xian didn't continue to persuade him. She said, "Tell me, who do you want me to find? Male or female? What do they look like?" Mo Qingyun didn't answer immediately when he heard Kong Xian's question. Instead, his expression became solemn as he said, "Before that, you have to swear to me that you won't reveal the identity of the person I'm looking for to anyone else." Mo Qingyun was worried. If the fact that he was looking for Qian Linglong was exposed, it would bring trouble to Qian Linglong. Seeing Mo Qingyun's serious expression, Kong Xian's expression also became serious. Kong Xian didn't ask any more questions. He straightforwardly made an oath and gave Mo Qingyun a promise. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun didn't waste any more time. He raised his arm and condensed a figure with divine power. Seeing Mo Qingyun's figure appear, Kong Xian was stunned in place. She couldn't be more familiar with the figure that Mo Qingyun condensed. Wasn't that Ling Long? Seeing Kong Xian's reaction, Mo Qingyun's expression trembled. He revealed a nervous and excited expression and said, "Do you know Ling Long?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Kong Xian was even more shocked. She suddenly felt buzzing. She never thought that the monstrous genius in front of her was the person Qian Linglong was looking for. No, how is this possible? How can you be the person Linglong is looking for? Kong Xian shook her head. She still couldn't accept this fact and felt that it was unbelievable. According to Qian Linglong's description, the person she was looking for, Mo Qingyun, should still be in the lower realm. Seeing Kong Xian's shocked expression, Mo Qingyun was even more excited. He was almost certain that Kong Xian definitely knew Qian Linglong. Mo Qingyun said excitedly with anticipation, "You know Linglong? Where is she now? Can you bring me to her?" Phew. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question again, Kong Xian took a deep breath and calmed herself down. She then said, "I can't believe that you can find this place from the lower realm in such a short time. It seems that the person Linglong is looking for is you." Mo Qingyun was excited as he quietly listened to Kong Xian's narration. Kong Xian paused to calm herself down and continued. Ling Long's situation is a bit complicated. I can't bring you to see her now to avoid unnecessary trouble. However, you don't have to worry. Ling Long will also participate in this holy war. Just now, I said that the people you are cooperating with are me and Ling Long. If nothing goes wrong, we will go to the Outer Realm relic in 3 days. You will be able to see Ling Long then. Hearing Kong Xian's words, Mo Qingyun was even more excited. 3 days. In 3 days, he would be able to see Qian Ling Long. Wonderful book house. Chapter 3377. Then let's wait for 3 more days. Mo Qingyun thought to himself. Since he had already come here, 3 more days would not make a difference. Xiaochen did not ask why Kong Xian said that she could not see Qian Ling Long. He believed that it was for Qian Ling Long's good. After discussing with Mo Qingyun, Kong Xian did not want to stay any longer. She prepared to tell Qian Ling Long about Mo Qingyun. If that's the case, I will leave first. See you in 3 days. After saying that, Kong Xian turned around and left, heading to Qian Ling Long's residence. Looking at Kong Xian's departing figure, Mo Qingyun could not calm down for a long time. It did not take long for Qian Ling Long to know that he had come. The most important thing now is to go into seclusion to stabilize my cultivation so that I can prepare for the upcoming holy war. After calming down, Mo Qingyun returned to his room and officially started his seclusion to stabilize his cultivation. While Mo Qingyun was in seclusion, Kong Xian came to Qian Ling Long's residence. She looked even more excited and said, Ling Long, I have good news. Do you want to hear it? Looking at Kong Xian's excited appearance, Qian Ling Long shook her head helplessly and said, What good news? Tell me. I found Mo Qingyun, Kong Xian said excitedly. The surroundings suddenly became quiet. The air seemed to have calmed down. After a while, under Kong Xian's expectant gaze, Qian Ling Long said calmly, I know. Didn't you go to watch him fight during the Holy War's qualification battles? Not long ago, you told me all about his achievements. Due to her preconceived notions, Qian Ling Long did not think that Mo Qingyun had already come to find her. Seeing Qian Ling Long's reaction, Kong Xian knew that she had misunderstood. She quickly said, No, this Mo Qingyun is the Mo Qingyun that you are looking for. Really? Where is he? Qian Ling Long's delicate body visibly trembled, and her expression became emotional. Her eyes even glistened with tears. Seeing Qian Ling Long's performance, Kong Xian's expression changed. He was shocked by Qian Ling Long's performance. She did not expect Qian Ling Long to be so excited after hearing about Mo Qingyun. Where else could he be? He's staying in the guest courtyard of the Royal Bloodline Holy Land. I didn't expect him to be the person I'm looking for. Kong Xian had a gloomy expression, very surprised by this result. Void Xian pondered for a moment and said, Also, you can't go look for him now. Could it be that you've forgotten? The old ancestors of the clan are all thinking of having you consume the fretless fruit so that you can forget some of your past memories. Speaking of which, it's strange. Patriarch and the others have been looking for the fretless fruit for so long, and Elder Lanyu and the others even went to Carefree Valley. Why is there no news at all? Hearing Kong Xian's words, Qian Ling Long's pretty face tensed up and a hint of worry appeared on her face. If not for the fact that she had not found the fretless fruit, her past memories would have been erased long ago. After comforting Qian Ling Long, Kong Xian revealed a playful expression and said, However, you don't have to worry. The Sacred War will begin in 3 days. At that time, you will be able to see Mo Qingyun and talk to him openly. Qian Ling Long nodded, and a look of anticipation appeared in her eyes. While Qian Ling Long was excited, she also felt puzzled and said, By the way, how do you know that he's the Mo Qingyun I'm looking for? It's all because you're stupid. Hearing Qian Ling Long's question, Kong Xian rolled her eyes and said, If you want to find someone, why don't you tell me what he looks like? How can others help you find him? Qian Ling Long shook her head at Kong Xian's words and said, You just said that the old ancestors want me to forget my past memories. They want me to forget Qingyun. If they know everything about Qing Yun, wouldn't Qing Yun be in danger? Kong Xian nodded and said, "You're right. If the old ancestors know that Qing Yun came here from the lower realm, I'm afraid they won't let him off easily. However, it doesn't matter now. When the sacred war begins in 3 days, we'll enter the outer realm ruins together. The old ancestors won't be able to monitor us, even if they want to." Hearing Kong Xian's words, Qian Linglong's expression became excited. 3 days. She just needed to wait for 3 more days, and she would be able to reunite with Qing Yun. 3 days passed quickly. 3 days later, Qing Yun walked out of the house. After 3 days of cultivation, his cultivation base had completely stabilized. To Qing Yun's surprise, Kong Xian arrived as soon as he walked out of the house. Not only that, but there was also a beautiful lady with Kong Xian. Linglong, Qing Yun. When Qing Yun and Qian Linglong saw each other, they were both excited. Immediately, they quickened their pace and walked towards each other. As they approached each other, they couldn't control themselves and had the urge to do something to each other. Seeing Qing Yun and Qian Linglong's behavior, Kong Xian panicked and said, "You two, be careful. There are many eyes and ears here. Don't overdo it. When we enter the outer realm ruins, you two can do whatever you want. No one will disturb you." Hearing Kong Xian's words, Qing Yun and Qian Linglong nodded and suppressed their excitement. At this moment, 2 more beautiful figures approached them and quickly arrived in front of them. "Kong Xian Saintess, Linglong Saintess, why are you here?" Looking at Kong Xian and Qian Linglong, Kong Xianyue was surprised and couldn't help but ask curiously. In response to Kong Xuanyue's question, Kong Xian said calmly, "What's so strange about it? I'm here to discuss something with Qing Yun." Chapter 3378. Saintess Yin, Linglong's Saintess, Princess Xianin and Princess Xianyue actually came with Qing Yun. Qing Yun really became famous after this battle. Even the 2 saintesses and the 2 princesses have a good impression of him. Although this is enviable, it's not necessarily a good thing to attract too much attention. That's true. Qing Yun is too close to these few. He will attract a lot of enemies, especially Linglong's Saintess. Although she has just returned to the clan, there are many people who admire her, even the other young masters. While some people were shocked, they were also worried and gloating. Under everyone's shocked and envious gaze, Qing Yun came to the center of the square and waited for Kong Qingliu's instructions. Qing Yun and the others had just stopped when a mocking voice came from the side. "Oh, I did not expect that the Linglong holy daughter, who disdains men, will be so close to a man today. This is really the first time an iron tree has bloomed." Qing Yun turned around and saw a woman with an arrogant expression on her face when she heard this untimely remark. This lady's appearance was not bad. Although she was not as beautiful as Qian Linglong and Kong Xian, she was still pretty. Of course, the most important thing was that her cultivation had reached the half-step Emperor God realm. From the aura she was emitting, it would not take long for her to break through to the Emperor God realm. When Qing Yun was sizing her up, Kong Xian's face darkened and he shouted, "Jiao Qingxi, it's not up to you to tell Linglong what to do. Go away." Hearing Kong Xian's words, Jiao Qingxi was stunned and she shouted, "Kong Xian, this is none of your business. Don't think that I can't do anything to you just because you are ranked higher than me." Kong Xian was not to be outdone. "So what if my ranking is higher than yours? If you're not convinced, come at me if you have the ability. Also, although Linglong disdains to bicker with you, don't go too far. It won't do you any good." Listening to Kong Xian and Jiao Qingxi's argument, Qing Yun had a rough understanding of Jiao Qingxi's identity. If he was not mistaken, Jiao Qingxi was the same as Kong Xian, one of the 10 saintesses. While Qing Yun was sizing her up, Kong Xianyue revealed an unhappy expression. She whispered in Qing Yun's ear, "She is called Jiao Qingxi. She has a younger sister called Jiao Qingha. She was originally a holy maiden like her." because the Linglong Saintess returned to the clan and showed her extraordinary talent in cultivation. She was highly valued by the patriarchs of the clan and replaced her sister's position as the Saintess. Because of this, she has been holding a grudge. In addition, Ziyin's Saintess has been suppressing her, so she has been fighting for Linglong Saintess and Ziyin's Saintess. After listening to Kong Xuanyue's explanation, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding the conflict and hatred between the two sides. After taking a few glances at Jiao Qingxi, Mo Qingyun retracted his gaze and did not bother about her anymore. While Mo Qingyun was sizing up Jiao Qingxi, a few women with powerful auras arrived and stopped in front of the crowd. They are all emperor gods. Sensing the auras of the few women, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He was surprised by their cultivation. Originally, he thought that the half-step emperor gods would be the limit of the 10 saintesses, 72 princes, and 36 princes. He did not expect that some of them had broken through to the emperor god realm. The strength of the emperor god realm and the half-step emperor god realm were not the same. While Mo Qingyun was shocked, Kong Xuanyue, who was beside him, did not stop talking and started to introduce the other saintesses. After a while, after Kong Xuanyue's introduction, Mo Qingyun had a clear understanding of their situation. These 10 saintesses were Kong Beaver, Shui Yun, Kong Kaoyi, Shan Yuro, Mu Yinxin, Kong Ziyan, Jiao Qingxi, Chun, Zhou Yinluo, and Qian Linglong. Kong Beaver and Shui Yun were middle-stage god emperors. Kong Kaoyi, Shan Yuro, and Mu Yinxin were early-stage god emperors. Kong Ziyan and Jiao Qingxi were half-step god emperors. Chun and Zhou Yinluo were quasi-emperors. Qian Linglong was a peak god king. Middle stage god emperor. After knowing the cultivation of Kong Beaver and Qian Linglong, Mo Qingyun was startled. His expression turned solemn. With Kong Beaver's strength, even if Mo Qingyun uses full strength, he might not be able to fight against her. Among the 15 regions of the Heaven Realm, the Kong Profound Heaven Sacred Clan is ranked last. The geniuses from the other clans should be stronger. Mo Qingyun thought in his heart. His expression turned solemn. He became more cautious about the sacred war. He thought, previously, I met that Yin Wu Jiao in the Kong Fragrance Dynasty. I wonder if he is the young lord of the 9 Yin Heaven Evil race. Will he participate in this sacred war? According to Mo Qingyun's thoughts, Yin Wu Jiao's strength should not be weaker than Yang Luo and the others. As Mo Qingyun was pondering, Green Willow Kong walked in front of the group of elders and said, "Since everyone is here, let's not delay any longer. Let's set off for the outer world historical remains." Finishing her words, Green Willow took out a flying ship. Her figure flashed as she boarded the flying ship. She said, "The competition format and rules of this sacred war might change. I'll personally send you all over." Hearing the words of Green Willow Kong, everyone became joyous. They were looking forward to it. According to everyone's understanding, every time the rules of the sacred war changed, there would be great rewards. Chapter 3379. Let's go to the cabin. Seeing that the flying boat had set off, Mo Qingyun walked into the cabin, intending to find a room to cultivate. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong and the other girls followed him and found their own rooms. After finding their own rooms, they went to Mo Qingyun's room to discuss the sacred war. Everyone sat down. Kong Xuanyue looked at Mo Qingyun curiously and asked, "Young Master Mo, the situation just now did not allow me to ask you. But I saw that you and the Linglong Saintess were already familiar with each other. Did you know each other before?" Hearing Kong Xuanyue's question, Kong Xianin revealed a curious expression. She was very puzzled. As far as she knew, Mo Qingyun had never left his residence since he entered the royal bloodline Holy Land. Therefore, it was a little strange that he was so familiar with Qian Linglong. Most importantly, Qian Linglong didn't like to make friends with outsiders. Everyone knew that. Now, She was friends with Mo Qingyun. It was even more puzzling. If he really wanted to explain this, then there was only one possibility. Mo Qingyun had known him for a long time. But was that possible? As for the rumor that Mo Qingyun had attracted Qian Linglong's attention because of his outstanding performance in the qualification battle, they didn't believe it. Qian Linglong and Kong Xian's faces tightened as they thought about how to respond to Kong Xuanyue's question. It wasn't easy to answer this question. If it didn't answer well, it might cause unnecessary trouble. While Qian Linglong and the Saintess were thinking, Mo Qingyun smiled indifferently and said, "It's like this. I talked to the Saintess for a while and realized that we have something in common. We are both recruiting. Maybe that's why we have a common topic. That's why you feel that we are familiar with each other." Hearing Mo Qingyun's answer, Kong Xianin and Kong Xian nodded. They felt that it must be so. Seeing that Kong Xianin and Kong Xianin no longer had any doubts, Kong Xian's expression relaxed, and his heart relaxed slightly. Although they felt that with Kong Xianyue and Kong Xuanyue's personalities, they wouldn't leak the news. But just in case, she still felt that it was better to keep his secret and not tell Kong Xianyue and Kong Xianyue. "I see." Kong Xianyue did not think too much about Mo Qingyun's reply. She revealed a playful expression and said, "Just now, I saw that you two were very familiar with each other. I thought that the person you were looking for was our Linglong Saintess." Hearing Kong Xuanyue's words, Kong Xian and Qian Linglong were stunned and petrified. Apart from the two girls, even Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat. He could even guess this. Although he was very surprised in his heart, Mo Qingyun did not show it. He smiled and said, "I would like that, but unfortunately it's not the case." Mo Qingyun sighed, and a disappointed expression appeared on his face. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Kong Xian's beautiful eyes trembled slightly. She immediately cooperated and said, "You wish. Don't think that you can have improper thoughts just because you have some topics with Linglong." Mo Qingyun shrugged and did not argue with Kong Xian. He knew that if he continued to talk about this, there might be new problems. Immediately, Mo Qingyun changed the topic and asked, "By the way, I don't know much about the Holy War. Tell me about it." Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Kong Xian answered, "If we're talking about understanding the sacred war, I'm the one who understands it the most. The origin of the Holy War started from a fragment continent. The outer world relic that we're going to now is called the Holy War continent. This continent was once the land of the Holy War ancient god clan. It drifted in the outer world for countless years before connecting with the heaven realm." Next, Kong Xian explained the situation of the Holy War continent to Mo Qingyun and the others. With Kong Xian's explanation, Mo Qingyun's understanding of the Holy War continent also increased. There were a total of 20 entrances to the Holy War continent. 15 of them were in the hands of 15 top clans. The remaining 5 were in the outer world relic. Some people would enter the Holy War continent from the 5 entrances to the outer world relic. Of course, entering from the outer world relic would be much more dangerous. 20 entrances? Hearing about the entrances to the Holy War continent, Mo Qingyun was stunned and puzzled. If that's the case, won't we be different from the other clans when we enter the Holy War continent? Kong Xianin nodded and said, "Although the entrances are different, everyone who enters the Holy War continent will receive a ball of holy light. This ball of holy light can only allow us to stay in the Holy War continent for 3 days without being expelled. If you want to stay in the Holy War continent for a long time, you have to plunder other people's holy light." After hearing Kong Xuanyue's words, Mo Qingyun frowned and said, "It seems that the competition of the Holy War is very cruel. In order to stay in the Holy War continent for a long time, you have to plunder other people's holy light." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Kong Xian and the others nodded. Kong Xian said with a tense face, "It's because of this that when we first entered the Holy War continent, everyone would choose to form an alliance to prevent the holy light from being taken away by others." Kong Xian's answer made Mo Qingyun somewhat puzzled. He said, "Miss Xian, According to what you said, people of the same clan will also compete. Of course, Kong Xian answered without hesitation. The Holy War continent is so big. Who can guarantee that we will meet people of other clans in 3 days? Besides, even if we meet people of other clans, who can guarantee that we will be able to defeat them? Mo Qingyan nodded in understanding. From this, it could be seen that the Holy Light was a huge problem that needed to be solved. If he didn't solve this problem, he might be forcibly expelled from the Holy War continent after just 3 days. While Mo Qingyan was worried and considering how long they should stay, Kong Xian smiled and continued. Of course, you don't have to worry too much. Although the initial Holy Glory Light can only allow us to stay in the Holy Glory continent for 3 days, it's still not enough. But in the Holy War continent, some weapons, ores, and other items will have some Holy Light left. If you can find it, you can also extend our stay. Otherwise, what can we do in a mere 3 days' time? Upon hearing Kong Xian's words, Mo Qingyun's worries were completely put to rest. In that case, there was nothing to worry about. Otherwise, if they really only had 3 days and they had to rely on plundering to extend their time, they should not do anything else after entering. They should just plunder the glorious light.